One. What's up, everybody? Welcome once again. We are live here at True Sound Studios. And we got a special guest in the building tonight. We're going to have a good podcast. Moan's got to catch a flight early in the morning. So stick around. It's Young Lion TV.
Young lion, everywhere I look, they dying. Everywhere I look, they dying. Young lion, everywhere I look, they dying. Everywhere I look, they dying. Young lion, won't you get up and stop fighting? Everywhere I look, they're hiding.
That's right, Young Lion TV. We're back here at True Sound Studios in Camden, New Jersey. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I want to say what's up to my little bro who's watching right now. We're heading to his wedding early tomorrow morning. Simone definitely got to catch a flight at 5 a.m., but he's still here doing the podcast because he's a gangster.
I am not going to sleep.
Yeah, he's a gangster, and he definitely is a rider, so I appreciate him sticking in here and doing that with us. We have a special guest today. We have a really old friend that we've known in the music scene for a long time. He's a sax player, flute player. He's a world traveler, and he's a Scotch connoisseur. His name is Corey Riker. So we're going to have a conversation reminiscing about music and all that good stuff. We want to make sure everybody that is watching or that checks this out later, make sure you go to the Patreon and support the podcast, support the Young Lions. Go to patreon.com/Young Lion TV, and you can sign up and subscribe to be, become a Young Lion. We welcome you into the pride.
Yes.
And then you get perks. We're going to give you copies of all of our music, and then you get all of the music that we release coming out in the future. You get it for free. So we're just trying to get people to sign up and be a part of what we're doing, help us get better equipment. We're trying to do better content and keep bringing you guys good streams.
Speaking of better equipment, we got the Rota Cam.
Yeah. Oh. So, of course, the person that you're seeing right there for the first time is the voice that you always hear. The voice of God is Rachel Rhoda. She she finally has a Rachel Cam. We've been talking about hashtag Rachel Cam for about 6 episodes now, and I sacrificed my iPhone to give her a Rachel Cam. But we need you guys to support so we can get her a real camera, and Yeah, so
everyone just wants to see the cam at this point. Hello.
Yeah.
It works.
Jamie's like, pause.
Yeah.
Put the camera back on yourself.
Put the camera back on yourself. Yeah, so again, we appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure you keep supporting us. You can get some merch on Jatan.com, get the t-shirts, get our
Young
music.
Lion merch coming soon.
And also, we want you guys to support Mr. Corey Riker. He has some great projects that are up on Spotify right now. PTSD and PTSD Volume 2, right?
Yeah, those are the 2 most recent. Those are the digital-only joints, so they're on Spotify, iTunes.
Cool, man.
All the digital places.
Yeah. You got those, Rach? Can you pull those up? Let people see them.
PTSD.
I got t-shirts too. Actually, I think I'm wearing one right
You wearing
now.
one, man? Show that merch off,
I'm
bro.
always wearing. This is from my first one, although the camera's not on me now. She's got a Spotify, but that is me.
We'll show you. Oh,
Yeah,
so
I gotta get a
all 4.
t-shirt.
look at that. Look at that merch.
These are the beautiful t-shirts that I printed. I sold a couple at the Center City Jazz Festival when I played there a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like, it's good, but I wear them all the time.
Yeah, we do too. We try to wear them as much as possible. I was actually wearing one at the gym the other day, and this dude was like, "Yo, man, I love that shirt.
Oh yeah,
where can I get one?" I was like, Jatan.com, man, get that thing.
The trunk of my car. Let's go.
I know. I never have them on me though.
Right.
That's the worst part. It's like you always got to buy it online.
I did for like the first week, and then it was like, this is silly.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, Moan. We got to talk about how gangster Moan is. Moan's got to get up at 5 a.m. to catch this flight. But he's an animal. So
I still got to finish packing because I'm last minute at everything. So
you still got to pack, dude.
I got to finish packing. I started. So
That's all right. Yeah, how are you?
but we do. This is what we do. So
this is what we do.
Pack.
We'll try to keep it light so that you don't get out of here.
Yeah,
too
I'm
late.
not checking no bag.
Is your flight not as early or something?
No, I was smart. and
Yeah,
took a
he's
later
smart.
flight.
He just called you dumb.
I listened to my wife and didn't think. Sometimes I get in my modes where it's like I just do.
Yeah.
She's like, "What's the earliest flight?" I was like, "It says 5 a.m. Do that one." Okay.
Yeah.
So I just booked
and he
that,
didn't
not
think to
thinking
himself,
about
like, wait, do I want to get up at 2:00 in the morning? No.
and travel with kids.
Right, with kids.
With kids.
Go to the airport, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But
So,
you'll do it. You'll do it
Yeah.
because you're that type of guy.
Yeah.
Having a guy like Moon around is perfect, especially like when you need motivation, like when you're in the gym and you want to work out. You know, you want to get that extra push.
Yo, I remember when we used to work out early in the morning. This was like, 2008 when we came back from MTV.
Yeah.
We worked out like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
These dudes are not morning
I'm not a
people
morning guy
at
at
all.
all.
Yo, I used to have to motivate them. They're like,
Yeah.
yo, they would be like, get out of my face,
Yeah.
dude. You.
Because for him, it's like it's not just motivation. It's like we're doing the workout and we're working out hard, but he's always throwing extra shit in there that like it never ends. You know, you kind of got a taste of that. Remember when we worked out? I remember when we worked out with Corey and at Sequan.
It was in San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego. And I remember we were doing like the circuit training thing, and Corey was like, every time we added another workout, he was like, really like. Yeah.
I remember you just lined up the dumbbells too for bicep curls, like along the floor. Like, no, you're going through like 5 sets of dumbbells
Yep.
here before you're
Well,
done.
that's called up the block,
Up
down the block.
Oh,
Yeah.
man,
Up
what
the
a
block,
jerk.
down the
Yeah.
block.
What a
Yeah.
jerk.
But
No, it's
you
great.
need that in your life,
Yes.
man.
Yeah,
you
you
need that
really do.
motivation. I work out by myself all the time, and I like pretend that I hear him in my head, like, you know, because otherwise I'll be lazy, you know.
Yeah, you cut corners, you know.
Yeah.
Corey's been going at it,
I
man.
know.
Working out.
I had been, but
Chest
it'd be-
popping out. Look at that.
Yeah, right. I got some boobies now. But yeah, it would be good. You know, next Freddie gig, we can.
Yeah,
we can try to
definitely.
get a gym session.
Yeah, let's
hopefully.
do it.
Especially at the hotel. That's the perfect time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it.
How's your workout regimen been going? Like, what's
it's good.
your routine?
My routine. Well, I've been at it hard. So I have this pattern basically.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a cap since we have plenty of time here. I guess.
Yeah.
So there have been 3 times in my life when I've been in good shape. Right.
Mm-hmm.
One was in high school when I was getting bullied, and I was like, "This sucks. I need to like feel tougher, feel more
Right,
confident to deal with this stuff." And
Where was
so
this at? Where you went to?
I grew up in Half Moon Bay, California, which is about 20 miles south of San Francisco. It's like a
Okay.
little beach town. And
you were getting bullied, bro, in San Francisco?
not in San Francisco, but close to. Yeah. Look, man.
We ain't
there's
gotta
bullies
say
everywhere.
nothing. We ain't gotta say nothing.
I know. I'm just.
Yeah. There's predator and prey
Yeah.
across the globe.
Right.
So yeah, I was getting bullied a bit my freshman year of high school. And,
Okay.
And I didn't like it.
Right.
Who likes it?
Yeah.
And then I started to toughen up a bit. So by sophomore year, anyways, I was in better shape and able to felt more confident standing up for myself a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got like a hot girlfriend. Then I felt like I was like, yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
I won high school.
Right.
And then anyway, so that and then I fell out of shape basically once I hit college, and then I got in shape again once I became single, like when I was like 28, because then I was like, oh, single life.
Gotta get those chicks, man.
Yeah, I gotta get some of this weight off and just like start working out again. And I got in good shape then, and that was fun. That was great. And then I got in a relationship which ended in a marriage.
Wow.
which is great.
Yeah.
Hello,
Congratulations,
Melissa.
man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
up,
Hey, what's up, Melissa? We have
So-
a funny story about the first time we met Melissa.
Oh
We'll
yeah,
talk about
yeah.
that.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
So while I've been on tour, like I like going to the gym, but my thing is like when I'm home, I'm just so distracted. I get so easily distracted.
Right.
So when I'm out on the road, it's much easier for me to hit the gym because
Right.
I'm at the hotel basically waiting for sound check. So I always practice more on the road. I'll go to the gym on the road, but always when I come home from tour, I stop going. But now I've been for the past 6 months, I've been solid, and the workout regimen's been great.
And you've been doing intermittent fasting too, right?
I have been doing that like the last month and a half or so. I started tracking calories 3 months ago.
Okay.
And then started with intermittent fasting like a month and a half ago.
What made
So-
you like start doing the fasting thing?
I think for anyone who is trying to like get in shape or lose weight, it's a learning process. You know, and it's like it for me. Even when I started this last time, I'd never really seriously weight trained or really like I knew stuff about nutrition, like you know what was in certain foods and stuff
Right.
like that. But I never like dealt with like macro balancing or specific workout regimens, like working out different muscle groups. And
Right.
stuff. Like I just would go to the gym and just do whatever I felt like doing or whatever.
I think that's
occurred
what
to me.
most people
Yeah.
do.
Right.
It is.
That's
Yeah.
the most common thing. But then I was like, wait, hold on. Let me take this a bit more seriously. And I didn't do that until at the ripe old age of 39 is when I
Right.
finally started to learn it. But it's lo and behold, learning from other people who have had success and you know, the glorious education network that is YouTube.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like you can just go on and there's all sorts of great people on there to learn from. And so I started piecing stuff together, talking to people, and now it's like a whole different level
Yeah.
of
I think that YouTube was what got me started in intermittent fasting too, because like I was watching a lot of Thomas Fung videos. That's his name, right? The doctor. He was like the main one that started
pushing the
implementing
intermittent
that,
fasting.
and like he works with a lot of diabetic patients, and he was talking about like how incorporating intermittent fasting was like totally reducing the amount of insulin that they would need, and to the point where then they would not need it anymore.
Wow.
And then showing like the benefits of it on their heart, and like just because your body, the way he broke it down was like your body uses sugar as an energy source first, right? Because I guess like when we were out, you know, traveling, hunting or whatever, if you needed quick energy, you eat some berries or find some source of sugar to get that quick energy, or bread or something. But really, fat is your energy source, right? That's how our bodies are designed, to burn fat. So if you never get to the fat burning because it's always burning off sugar first, then you're constantly just building fat on top of that. And he was showing that with like he was talking about some guy that like, and it's probably on Rachel could probably find this. There's a dude that like they had him fast for I think almost a year straight. And like he was monitored, you know, they watched his vitals and everything, but he was like morbidly obese, like 600 pounds. And I think
Intermittent fasting, right?
they just had him totally fast for like no food for a year. Like he literally didn't
what?
eat anything for a year. Yeah, I'm serious. Like
How is that possible?
because he had so much fat on his body.
What?
Like you literally, look, here we go.
1965, 27-year-old Angus really did
Oh,
well
this might be
for
something
1 year
else.
and 17 days. This is a long time ago.
By the way, it's been done.
Yeah,
but
it's been done.
yeah. So maybe
But-
they repeated that with some of
Yeah,
some of
they-
their story. you're
And I
talking
think
about.
the one I'm talking about, they like this guy might have just like did it on his own, but I know there was one where they monitored the person to make sure.
This was pretty legit. He was reportedly sick of being obese and checked into the University Department of Medicine at the Royal Infirmary of
Okay.
Dundee
I
Yeah.
and
guess
didn't
he
eat for a year. So
But-
Yeah, he must have just had like basic like you know like getting like magnesium and
Yeah,
that's
like-
like basic minerals.
You got
Getting minerals.
You got to have
Right.
like minerals
and
and
water,
stuff.
obviously.
Right,
You know,
right.
but, like,
Water definitely.
but I can see,
but
like-
No food.
no
for it.
food. Like,
can you imagine?
Keep them supplement. But think about it, like you and the other thing that he was showing with that type of weight loss is that when you get into remember we were talking about autopathy last week,
Yeah.
with Victoria, and when you get into that mode, your body starts getting energy from like bad proteins in your body. So
Yeah.
like even bad dead cells,
Your cells breaking down and then
the-
rejuvenating.
the dead skin. Like when you lose weight, you know how like when people lose a lot of weight, they get the floppy skin or whatever.
Yeah.
So when they were saying that with this method, with fasting, you don't get that because your body literally uses that protein as
Wow.
energy, so your skin retracts, which is interesting. So that like doing all that research was like, oh, I'm gonna try this
Because you
know?
definitely can see like when somebody gets like a gastric bypass, you
Yeah.
can tell, you know, by the way their body is,
Yeah.
by the way their face look.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah, it's totally different.
yeah. But that's crazy though. Not eating it for a year,
Can you imagine that?
no,
dude. I get hangry.
We were just
I get hangry one day.
We were just talking about that this show, like 18 hours, you're like, oh, I'm dying. You know what I mean? But I mean, when you think about the way our bodies are designed, they're designed to go long periods of time without food. We get so in the rhythm of having to
Yeah.
eat all the time.
Yeah.
And I think we eat excessively now because it's so, accessible.
A lot of it is mental, man.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is mental. Because
Yeah.
I know, like, speaking for myself, it's like I have to trick my brain sometimes. It's like, you know, when because I do fasting a lot. That's actually how I maintain my body weight now, is because I fast, because I eat a lot of trash. But I know on days where I want to go like 24 hours, I have to trick myself. You know what I mean? Like drink water or just go do something, like go work out.
Keep yourself busy.
Yeah. And then I'll forget about it. And then I'm like, yo, I'm not really that hungry.
Yeah.
And then I'll just keep on going past 24 hours.
Once you get in a rhythm, I remember when I fasted for 10 days, it was like, once you get past the first few days, you're in the rhythm of it, and it's just like, you don't even think about eating anymore. You know, if you smell something that smells amazing, you'd be like, damn. But, but it doesn't affect you like, oh, I'm starving. You know what I mean? Like, you start getting in that rhythm of just doing it. It just becomes normal.
Dude, my wife makes fun of me all the time because she's actually the one that brought light to like how my mind works. I'm always constantly thinking about food.
Yeah.
Like, what am I gonna make for dinner?
Yeah.
What are we gonna do for tomorrow for food?
Yeah.
Constantly. That's what I do. And she brought it to me.
You're greedy.
I am greedy.
What's the longest you've done so far, like fasting wise?
Oh, well, years ago. I mean, recently I'm just doing like the intermittent.
Right. How long do you, like, what's the longest went?
I mean, so like 22 hours, I guess. Like
That's
a 2 hour. That's the longest I've done. I mean, I find like a 6 hour window is doable. 8's easy.
Yeah.
You know, but 6
8's too
is
easy.
Yeah, 8's easy. 6 is like, you know, I'm not going to torture myself every day. I can kind of stick to that.
But think about that. Like, 8 is easy, and virtually no one does 8.
Right.
Like, no one. It's people probably do 4 at the most. Like,
right.
4 hours without eating anything.
Right
Like,
before they go to bed. As soon as they get up. Like, You know, because obviously, you know, as soon as you put cream in your coffee.
Yeah.
You know, or you have like popcorn before you go to bed.
Right.
Any sort of
anything.
calorie.
Yeah.
That's it. So, yeah, it's like, going to bed at a reasonable hour. Nothing like super early. I mean, the hardest part about it is its effect on my social life, because if I go out at night, that's usually when it gets broken. Not always, but you know, if you have a drink or you start thinking about what's on the bar menu.
Kind of like we're breaking it right now.
This is totally
this
breaking
amazing scotch. We got some Balvenie here.
They got me drinking it.
Yeah, Jamie hooked up the.
Yeah, I know Corey is a scotch lover, so I brought him Balvenie because you put me onto this in Seattle when we had the 21.
Yeah, the 21. They were foolish enough to let us purchase any drinks for half price. And I just looked right at their scotch list and was like, the 21, right on. Yeah. This would be like $12, $13 now. Like, that's good. And I got us some Balvenie, and the 21's great.
Yeah. I actually like this better than what I had.
Oh,
what did you have?
This is a Johnny Walker Blue. They're selling these little shot joints in Philly.
I'm going to be real fast. This is coming from a guy that don't drink scotch. This reminds me of like rubbing alcohol or some shit like that.
Right.
I like this.
Yeah, because this is a single malt. This is a blended scotch.
Which is going to have more.
But that's the more expensive one though.
Yeah, way more.
Yeah,
like 5 times.
This is the first time I've had the Blue Label one, and I gotta say, not a big fan.
No, this is
I'm not a big fan of Johnny Walker anyway.
So I had to know a little bit.
Yeah,
I had it for the first time in the Philippines. I was in Manila, and they had it at a hotel bar. And I was like, well, it seems cheaper here.
Yeah.
I was like, it's cheaper. It was like $22 or something like that for a shot. So I was like, I'm going to get it. I'm just going to try Johnny Walker Blue so I can check it off. And first of all, it was $22 because the pour was maybe an ounce.
Right.
It was a small pour.
Yeah.
And then I swore it was watered down.
Oh, they probably did.
Was,
they did you dirty.
And maybe
do they take American dollars there, or do you have to pay?
I think I had it used a card.
Is it bot over there?
I don't recall.
I think it's bot in the Philippines.
He's probably right. Check it just to see.
Either way, I paid for it somehow.
Just to prove him wrong. Just so that Jamie can be wrong.
But I wasn't impressed. That's what I remember. I wasn't impressed. And it was kind of like, Blue Label, whatever.
Right.
And then again, having I think it is a very acceptable blended scotch. It's just like right down the middle of the road. There's nothing really special about it. And I get why people would like it.
Why is it so expensive though?
Because it's aged a long time and it's their best. It's the best that they can do. Johnny.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Johnny. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like, but the problem is like when you do the blended scotch, you're getting all different years mixed together. So
Yeah, it's a non-specific year.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have a specific region. Like, you don't know where, I don't know where Johnny Walker actually comes from. This is my own ignorance, but you know, with other single malts, like, you know where Balvenie comes from, you know where a lot of the other ones come from in those regions.
And the ones that you like the most, what region do they usually come from? The
well, Ile, like so like Lafroig, Lagavulin, Ardbeg, those are really peaty. I like those.
Okay.
And then I like Highlands. So like
Highlands,
Park, like Highland, like up north. So what I don't like are the really sherried ones. So I don't like Macallan or Aberlour.
Those are a little sweeter.
Yeah, they're sweeter. They're more on that other opposite side. So I kind of like something that's more down the middle or really far on the peaty side.
Yeah.
Far down the what side?
Peaty. Like the one that tastes like a campfire in your mouth.
Yeah, it tastes smoky kind of.
Yeah, it's like an ashtray. You just swallow in an ashtray and you're supposed to enjoy it.
It's
All
like,
these terminologies
it's
that I
perfect
don't know.
with like cigars and stuff. People love it with that because it's like the smokiness goes.
Yeah.
All right.
Or pissing off your wife if you want to like just get some space. Start drinking that
Start
stuff.
drinking
that. Yeah, you send her straight to bed. You're like, finally, I get some peace and quiet around here. Melissa.
Oh my god!
I'm kidding.
So did you find it? Is it bought?
I gave up on that.
No, she
That's
gave
all
up
right.
on that.
In the Philippines, they have money.
Yeah, they have money, but
that money was used.
but the conversion rate is ridiculous though. So like,
Yeah, well,
but I'm saying, do you remember if they took American dollars or did you have to convert?
I
everything?
don't think they did.
Okay.
No, I'm trying to I'm trying to remember anywhere in Asia that I went that was like, oh yeah, here's just used dollars. I mean, a lot of places will take it, but you're obviously going to get dinged.
Right.
But I think I just made a habit of, you had to exchange some money or just credit cards whenever you can, because now so many credit cards, they just don't have international fees. So if you can use it, use it. And then you might have to pull out a few dollars or exchange at the hotel, and you'll get dinged. But
Was this the Philippines?
Yeah.
it's okay. I mean,
It's all right. It's not a big deal. Simone just wanted to check my gangster.
So PISO, like that is I don't know how to pronounce that, but it says that that's
PISO.
pizza.
Hey, it's peso.
That means
it's
Jamie is
peso.
that
wrong.
means I'm wrong.
Or peso.
finally
But
You know what?
wrong.
I think I was
it's
thinking
peso.
of. I think I was thinking of Thailand. Mix those.
It is bought in Thailand. You know that, but I'm like,
I was born in Thailand, and I don't know. I don't know what money they use.
Yeah.
what's pretty?
Thailand's pretty.
The place is pretty. Their money's pretty too. I love seeing foreign currencies. Some of them, like, it makes American dollars look kind of plain Jane.
Yeah, they are really colorful.
I feel like I'm muted right now.
Yeah, they,
My bad.
It's all good.
ooh.
It's all
she
good.
shut you down.
Shut me down.
She's like,
John
"Stop
said he's
asking
going
me."
to have some scotch at the wedding.
He's supposed to have the 21, but I know him, so it'll probably be.
It better be hidden behind somewhere. You gotta have a passcode.
It's going to be watered down.
No, it's gonna be the Johnny Walker red label.
Yeah, Johnny Walker question mark.
Yeah.
Ariana said, "What's up, Jamie?"
What's up, Ariana? How you doing? Hey guys, make sure you guys share the stream right now. Please do us a favor. Just share it,
Share the
because
stream.
Facebook is hating on us. The algorithm is killing us, and we need you guys to share it so that other people see it and we can get this.
They don't like what we're talking about
Yeah.
a lot of times.
Yeah, we keep it real too much for them.
Yeah.
I don't want to ask it. Yeah, anyway.
Huh?
So what are we going to talk about?
I mean, we talk about a lot of stuff on here. We've had some crazy conversations. Sometimes Rachel just sits there looking at us like,
Next topic.
Yes. Like, why are you guys talking about that right now?
so let's talk about how you got started in music. Like,
Sure.
how did it all start for you? You grew up.
Like, we're going back to the beginning?
Let's go to the beginning.
All right,
man.
cool. Well, so I grew up in Half Moon Bay, California. And so when sixth grade middle school started, sixth grade, like, beginning band was an option. So I signed up for that.
Right.
And when I was in fifth grade, they gave you like a little piece of paper to fill out if you wanted to join band. I checked saxophone. I thought it would make my dad happy. My parents were recently divorced.
Okay.
And so I was missing my dad.
Yeah.
And I thought it would make him happy.
What would make him happy about saxophone?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Because he honestly tried to push guitar on me.
Okay.
A couple times.
So was your dad like a musician?
He was in the music industry when he was younger.
Okay.
He played like trombone when he was a kid.
Gotcha.
But then when he graduated from college, he got his did 2 years at Purdue in Indiana. He grew up in Indiana, and then he went out and was a roadie. So he was a roadie, and eventually was doing front of house sound with this band he was touring with, and then he did front of house sound and recording engineer, and then got into some production stuff when he was at home.
Nice.
And that's why I was born in Indianapolis. That's where he met my mom, and they got married. He was working in a studio.
I didn't know you were born in Indianapolis.
I was.
I didn't know either.
So here we go. We're learning stuff today about me anyway. So, but then he got a job at the what was formerly known as the Playboy Club in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And
Playboy Club.
Yeah, now it's a resort.
Okay.
It's like a Playboy Club resort. In this place, I actually stayed there on tour once, and it's not called that anymore. It's like that was a wild, but so he had a job there.
Was it called the Playboy Club because of what we're thinking, or was
Yeah,
it?
oh yeah, it was Hugh
okay.
Hefner's it was a Playboy Club resort in Lake
yeah.
Geneva.
So there
Okay.
was bunnies walking around.
They
Boobies?
had a
Boobies
bunny.
everywhere.
The logo was the Playboy logo. They had a swimming pool, like the lake. Actually, there's maybe a lake on the property.
Show your face right now, Rach. Show your face.
This is real. No, because you hear that, and we stayed there.
Yeah.
And they actually have like a little section in the lobby.
And this was
with
your
the
dad's
case.
job, like his gig was like.
They had a theater there.
Okay.
So they had a theater there, and he worked front of house sound for that
Wow.
theater.
Okay.
And then also adjacent to the resort was a recording studio, and he was also the in-house engineer for the recording studio.
Okay.
And then he also did production stuff there. So when I stayed there, I called him like, "Dad, I'm staying at the former Playboy Club." You know?
Wow.
I was 2 years old when he was working there. And he said, he basically told me how to get to the recording studio.
Oh wow.
And I went and checked it out, and it was an electrical. It was like now the electrical engineer office
Oh, man.
for the resort.
So there was no gear in there or anything.
No gear, but the shape of the room was like, why is
Okay.
this like electrical engineer office so cool looking? Like these angled walls, and they had some double like sliding glass door setups, stuff that you would never see. And they were just like, "Oh, we wondered why it was like that," you know. And they let me in.
Yeah.
Right?
So we're telling them like, do you know the history of this place? They're
Right.
looking at you like,
Yeah, and I kind of broke it down the best I could.
yeah.
So my dad was in the industry,
Okay.
and then he left the industry,
Right.
and got into something else, and that's what prompted us to move to California. So that at 2 years old, around 2 or 3 is when we moved to California.
Okay.
And so I grew up there, and my mom's from there, so she liked that. So then, fast forward 6th grade band. I started there, and I immediately fell in love
With the saxophone.
Yeah, with the
Did
saxophone.
I ever tell you I wanted to play saxophone?
No, you still can.
No, my first choice was saxophone.
And what you get stuck with?
My dad was like, I got this old trumpet
Old ass trumpet.
There you go.
that you're going to play because saxophones are expensive. So that's how I ended up playing trumpet.
Yeah. That's a friend of mine, Ernest. That's how he ended up playing trombone, is because that's what was available.
Right.
And we had to rent one.
Yeah.
But I took care of it.
Yeah.
I liked it. And I think by 8th grade, I think my parents, my grandpa actually was kicked in the most and got me a decent saxophone.
Wow.
And but I got really serious, and then high school, continued on. College, I did not study music, but I still played music. I was in the jazz band and taking lessons and playing in the community, and I was doing some other stuff, but I was a business major. I was a terrible college student, though, but that's a whole other thing. And then
What
after
were you
that,
going to college for?
business management.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I had fun in high school. I overall really liked high school.
Yeah.
Which is why I've probably gone to both my high school reunions, because I enjoyed that time. But college, I was too immature to be.
Side note question.
Yeah.
Did you playing an instrument have to do with you being bullied?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think so. Maybe, but I
I experienced that carrying the trumpet around. you know.
I didn't perceive it that way.
Okay.
No,
Okay,
I think
because they
it's
always look at the band.
Yeah,
people like
why is
dorks.
that though?
Because they're haters, man.
Corny.
They're haters.
You know, the community I grew up in was kind of weird. It was odd.
It's California.
There weren't, yeah, sure, but like it wasn't like a thing like to be a jock at my school. That was like,
Okay.
It wasn't like the thing to be.
Okay.
You know, like it wasn't like that. It was such a sort of like artsy community that it was kind of like more like the alternative kids were a bigger population than like the football players or something.
Sounds like
So,
Southern California.
like Northern.
Northern California.
Northern.
Both,
be clear.
all California.
So, but yeah, I mean, like, this was, I went to high school from 94 to 98. And when I was in high school, starting in maybe like 96 or 97, like we had vegan food options in the
Oh my
cafeteria.
god! Wow.
What?
Yeah, that's like how,
Yo.
that's what like,
So you guys are the reason.
So it was a
It
lot.
went
It was a
far
lot
enough.
of. It was a lot of soy being distributed around. Yeah.
yeah, a lot
I
of
got you.
tofu and a lot of
It
like,
Started in
soy.
California.
A lot
lot
of
of-
estrogenizing the males. I
Yeah,
got
sure.
you.
Yeah, demasculating. Yeah, so, but I mean, the thing that it was a lot of angry kids though,
Okay.
because
Because they're eating soy all day. They're
Yeah.
like,
I mean,
They want some meat.
I love all my vegan,
They need
you know,
some fat.
All my vegan friends are great. That's great. You do vegan, but usually most of the dudes are angry.
Right.
This is like a common thing. Like,
Yeah.
they're usually angry guys.
yes.
And that was definitely true in my high school. So it was like if you were vegan, you were also straight edge. You know, so no drugs, no alcohol. And then that also went with a culture of music, which was like this hardcore metal music. So it was kind of like this whole thing. And I would say that at my high school, that was a stronger movement than being like on the varsity team.
Oh wow.
You know,
Wow,
like-
really?
Yeah. So for that reason, I don't think me being in band was like a reason.
But
for
that's
being
funny.
cool.
So, but you never got pulled into that, like.
vegan or
No,
something? Or-
no, I meant like I meant like the metal scene, like the music.
Oh, yeah, a little bit,
Because
yeah.
I mean, but you're a sax player, so like, how did you?
I played drums a little bit in high
Oh,
school.
did you? Okay.
I listened to it, like I couldn't help but check it out.
Of course, you're gonna listen.
And I still have those. Like I used to look like my favorite band. I remember they were pretty popular in that scene was Earth Crisis, and I used to think that they were great. And I can still listen to it and like get a good chuckle from like revisiting those albums.
Okay.
They're so obnoxious, but they're kind of cool. So,
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's like I could bro out in my adolescence.
Right.
Like,
Didn't that grunge metal type of stuff started out? there on the
Grunge
West
started
Coast?
in like Seattle.
grunge was Seattle, but I
Yeah.
mean that was when I was in middle school, and yeah, that was very much a thing. I mean, I was a fan of those bands. when they
Another
were
place that
happening.
you lived, right? You lived in Seattle.
My dad, yeah, briefly when
Okay.
I was in fourth grade. Then my parents split, and we moved back to California. But then my dad still lives in the Seattle area, so
Right.
I've been there a lot, throughout my life.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was going to say is that the only genre of music that happened, I guess, in high school that I didn't like because of saxophone was ska.
Okay.
That was the one that like.
But isn't that the one that sax can exist
Yeah, I
in?
couldn't-
Like
I never
literally,
liked it.
you could put a sax in
Nope.
that. Right?
Still.
Wow.
Shout out to Public Service, who I did do some gigs with when I first moved to Philly, and they were a pretty well-known ska band. But I never liked
Never
ska
liked
music.
ska music. That
No.
was Steve was so into that. Steve is our keyboard player. So into ska music.
Right on, right on.
Yeah.
Watch out, he might not want to talk about that though.
Oh, my bad. Did I put you out there, Steve? Put you on blast, buddy?
He's gonna have to
Ska
come on here and defend ska.
Yeah.
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 So
What exactly is ska?
Ska's like,
it's white reggae.
it's kind of like No Doubt. No Doubt was like,
Oh, that was ska.
yeah. Yeah, it is. It's literally, yeah, that's what it is. It's like,
I mean, but not the original ska was. I mean, anyways, but yeah, that's what happened to it. That's
the
what
Police was white reggae. Yeah.
Yeah, they were.
That's what they thought they were doing.
happened. Look, I'm not going to say that, but I will say that ska is really gentrified reggae.
Yeah, right.
Super, but like I just wasn't into it. And I like reggae.
I get it.
Yeah, I didn't want to do.
Gentrified.
The gentrified reggae.
Fine.
I love it.
No, guys, faster. All right.
So
See-
it's like Iggy Azalea's gentrified rap.
Yeah. It was and that was the thing when I was in high school. That was actually. I mean, I feel like high schoolers today still go through a ska thing for some reason.
Do they?
Yes, trust me. Like students I've had, and like it's a thing still. Like I've gone to ska concerts not voluntarily.
Wow.
Like invited to within the past like 3 or 4 years, it had been like the Barbary or something. I'm like, wow, this still happens.
I feel like I remember Carter mentioning that about some people that he came up with being in ska bands. Like, I'm like, really?
Yeah, but they were a thing. Like there were some of those. Like I had a resurgence when I was in high school, and I guess for some reason it stuck around. Some of those bands like from that era, and they was sort of like the jump swing thing.
311.
Well, yeah, they were pop. They were more on the rock side, but they didn't have horns.
Okay.
But like Cherry Pop and Daddies, which is jump swing.
Okay.
But like Brian Setzer Orchestra, but then you like Real Big Fish, and you have these different like ska bands that came up around that time, and I was not into it.
I got you.
But either way, I was invited to do those concerts and was expected to skank on stage.
Yeah.
While I was playing poorly executed.
It was always
parts.
like reggae, man, that influenced so much music.
Yeah.
Dude,
Reggae was
like,
huge. Reggae was so huge. I mean, it literally brought, governments down. You know what I mean? Like it was so huge. It's
Yes.
crazy.
It influenced everything.
Yeah.
Probably from like especially in the UK, because a lot of people from Jamaica immigrated to the UK, right? And so all the music movements that happened in the UK were heavily influenced, a lot of them by reggae.
Yep.
Which is a lot of like electronic music and all that stuff is like so much. Yeah, so reggae is huge. I think it's kind of maybe more ignored in the States because we always think of blues and jazz because that's American
It's
music.
American made, yeah.
But
which reggae is an offset of that because that was them, trying to do R&B music.
Yeah.
50 stuff.
Yeah. I remember Carlton Barrett, who was Bob Marley's drummer, he was talking about like how he came up doing like Latin style drums, and he was trying to like figure out how to incorporate that with an R&B groove, and that's how like the one drop groove. That's how he developed that. Like that was his idea of like, Latin mixed with R&B.
There it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So yeah, high school. That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
So college happened. College, I had a big departure actually. Like I really didn't. My freshman year, I was like, business, and then but I was a business major, and I ended up being a music and speech minor. But I
Okay.
picked the school I went to because they had a decent music program. But I didn't check out the business school at all, and it ended up being terrible. I will say that on this podcast that I did not like the college I went to.
You didn't say the name,
Yeah, I didn't
so
say
it's
the
all
name,
good.
but I didn't enjoy myself there too much. And I also didn't take my education seriously at that time. I wasn't mature enough, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know if I needed a year off, but maybe I needed a year off to go get, fall on my face.
You were
before.
living the jazz life too much.
Yeah, it was the jazz life that led into some other more modern forms of jazz that got me in some trouble. But,
I won't say anything.
yeah, but I got into some other stuff. I got into electronic music.
Okay.
And
Really?
Yeah.
So that's where that influence comes in, because I hear
Yeah.
some of that in your stuff that you do now.
In college, I was very rebellious.
Okay.
I had a rebellious phase, and I became vegan out of rebellion. In
Wow.
anger, right? For
In
like
anger. Who are
7
you
or 8
mad
months.
at?
Angry vegan.
I was an angry,
The
vegan.
angry
This is
vegan.
how I know
There's
that
a
all
lot of
vegans
He
are angry.
knows.
I see it.
He
I'm
knows
like,
how
I-
angry he was.
I remember.
What were you rebelling against?
The culture of the school I went to.
Okay. So the culture of the school was just like eat massive amounts of meat, and you were like, "Fuck you."
No,
Vegan.
no, it wasn't really that. No, you know what
Soy
it was?
products.
All right, now that I've had it, we can talk a little bit. But like, I went to a really conservative Presbyterian college.
Oh,
Right.
religion.
And-
That'll do it.
And it was in Spokane, Washington. And most of the people that went to that school were from like rural
lucky
Washington,
Jake's not here.
Idaho, Montana.
Uh-huh.
Right. So our worldviews were just clashed.
Right.
And I remember when I went to the school to check it out, like to visit.
What made you want to go there, like with that type of?
A friend of mine. So there's a few things. A friend of mine that I played music with when I was in high school. He went there.
Okay.
He was a little bit older than me, and he was a homeschooled kid. He was a great piano player, and he went there, and so I liked him. I was like, I kind of looked up to him, and
Right.
so he went there, and he introduced me to the school, and they liked. I auditioned through him. I played his senior recital, I think, is like my audition for the program, and they offered me scholarship money, and I got scholarship money because of my grades. I basically got a scholarship, so it cost the same as a public school in Washington.
Wow.
And and my dad was basically offering assistance with college on the condition that I went to school in Washington State.
Okay.
He put a hook on it, right?
Yeah.
And so I had limited options for like good music programs in Washington State because no one goes to Washington.
Now
for
we're
music.
narrowing down what this school is.
Yeah. So, so it was a religious school, and I remember when I did the orientation there, or a visit thing, and there was a group of maybe 10 or 12 students there showing around with some parents that tagged along, and they were like, tell everyone where you're from. And, kind of type thing. I was like, I'm from San Francisco. That's an easy answer. Like saying you're from Philly if you're from anywhere near. And they're like, oh, are you gay? That was literally like one of the first things out of these. And I'm like,
what?
Wow, this is, so culturally, it was
wait. Coming from the people on the board?
No, coming from fellow students that were checking out the school. Because they're just kind of like...
Take his drink away, please.
That's right. So, culturally, I had a lot of issues there. Because I just felt like these people were from more rural areas.
Right.
They were
Closed-minded,
conservative Christian. They just had, great people.
Right.
But they just... Our world views and experiences leading up to that point were totally different.
Right.
And I was also coming from a party... Like in high school, I started to get a little bit wild towards the end. So I was also thinking, well, if I go to a school like this... It'll mellow me out instead of sending me further down that way. So I was trying to kind of check myself a little bit. However, I soon just rebelled because I just did not like the culture there. And one way that I could rebel was being vegan because that just upset all the Christians because you're saying, well, what God gave us is not what I'm going to eat.
Right.
And they just were throwing their hands in the air and wanted to argue with me every single day in the cafeteria. And I kind of liked it. I was like,
bring it on.
Bring it on, but even at that time, and this is a thing with veganism even today is when people do it out of anger. A lot of times they're not eating healthy at all.
Right.
I wasn't eating healthy. I was just eating vegan.
Yeah.
And so I still put that freshman 15 on and all that stuff because.
Dude, people don't get it. Like French fries are vegan, bro.
Yeah.
And there's this huge. We were talking about this the other day. There's this huge thing happening with all these vegan YouTubers, and they're finding out that right around the 5-year window, they're starting to have these enormous health problems because a lot of them aren't supplementing properly or eating properly. They're just eating whatever. And then they start their body starts shutting down and they have to start eating meat again because it's their doctor's telling them yo, you're dying. You know what I mean? And there's this huge community of these YouTubers that have to do these apology videos talking about I had to eat meat, or they get caught eating meat, and it's crazy because people don't get that. They're you're not, just because you're a vegan doesn't mean you're being healthy.
Yeah. So and nothing against. I'm fully in support of veganism, and a lot of people have had
do
great
what you
do
want.
what you want to do.
However, at that point in my life, I was doing it out of anger and rebellion,
right?
And I wasn't playing music. I kind of in college, I didn't play saxophone really for 2 years. I was playing in jazz band. I had private lessons that I attended sometimes. I played in a band in the community, but I didn't practice. I got totally into electronic music, and I was DJing. And I got into
DJing
that.
too?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I started spinning at raves when I was a junior. Yeah, I moved off the campus when I was a junior in college. I started that was when I went back to college. I'm I'm going to buy turntables on eBay, and I'm going to sit in the apartment with my old roommate Aaron, and I mixed records. And
I've never experienced a rave.
It's a lot of fun.
I don't think I've
heard there's a lot of psychedelics involved and a lot of ecstasy and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it is or it was, I don't know what it is now, but it was definitely a drug culture, but it was a music culture too. And I don't think that's so different from music historically.
Yeah.
It's just new. It was the new thing for parents to point their finger at and wag their finger. But musically, it was really revolutionary for me because it was the opposite of what I was doing.
Right.
And I was fascinated.
So it was a way to do music, but also keep the rebellion spirit at the same time.
And I got to hang out with people outside of the culture of the college I was going to, which I wanted to get away from.
Right.
So it was a whole different group of friends, and they reminded me more of what I was used to because they were a bit more open, and just they weren't that. They weren't conservative, clearly, it wasn't that kind of crowd.
Ecstasy has a way of opening you up,
It does that, and But yes, drug jokes.
I wouldn't know
You can make the
about
drug
that.
jokes. That's cool. But I mean, I've made a lot of friends that I still have today.
Of course.
And that's like it's. I'm very sentimental about that part of my
Right,
life,
right.
and it also influenced me a lot musically. So then, college ended. That ended. DJing stopped. That phase.
Right
was
after
over.
college was over.
It was over. And 3 weeks after I graduated, I started working for Carnival Cruise Lines. And so I flew out to Los Angeles and got on a ship out of San Pedro and started my Carnival Cruise Lines adventure for the next 2.5 years.
And how was that?
It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the, for a musician that doesn't quite know what to do with themselves, like, which was me, went to college, didn't like it, didn't really do well, kept my scholarship. I did just good enough to keep my scholarships. Like, you need to keep a 3.0. I had a 3.07 when I graduated.
Wow.
And I went out there to like basic music.
Right.
And it was a great experience. So I think for kids who don't quite know what to do with themselves or come from maybe a smaller community, it's a great option to have a job
And what were you,
travel.
were you just doing like how does that whole, how do you get into that world of like being a working musician on a Carnival line? Do they just like throw charts in front of you and you're playing with whoever, or like?
Yeah. So I mean, well, Carnival hires in-house. So I had a friend who had done it. I reached out to the person who hired him, and then you find out, there's a few people from Spokane that's done this, but like that, so it was easy to get a job out there.
Okay.
Initially, a lot of the other companies use agencies to like find musicians. But it's not that hard. It's not a hard job to get. And then when you're out there, you're doing a mix of stuff. So, an average week you'd maybe play like 15 hours of music or so, like 15 like sets or hours or whatever. But sometimes I was on shifts where I only did like 11 hours a week, which was like barely anything. It was kind of boring. And then other shifts was like 20 hours a week, and that was exhausting. It was a lot of playing. But that was fun. And we played production shows with singers and dancers. We had fly out, like entertainers, they flew on, like singers or magicians, jugglers, all sorts of different type of people. You do cocktail sets, you do jazz sets. I would sit in with the reggae band sometimes outside.
Still roped you into the ska music.
Reggae.
Reggae.
My guy. Although they were doing Shaggy and all that. Pop stuff too.
They do No Doubt.
Then you did ska, bro.
No, they did
You
never.
did ska.
I never know. I didn't ever do No Doubt. They didn't do No Doubt. No. It was reggae. It was a reggae band. They were from. I remember the one band I played with the most. They were from St. Lucia.
Oh, wow.
Really cool.
We went to St. Lucia.
St. Lucia is
I know.
amazing.
You missed that gig. I know. I'm sorry.
I know. I would have loved to have gone to visit people I befriended on Carnival Cruise Line so many years ago.
That was one of our best trips ever.
I bet.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I did that for a while, and then I was on a work break with an old girlfriend to go to a wedding in South Jersey. Mm-hmm. And
where in South Jersey?
Around here.
He don't remember.
I don't remember. Yeah, but she was from South Jersey. She was from Haddon Township.
Okay. Collingswood.
No, it wasn't there though. By the way, it was close to Collingswood.
Okay.
We visited Philly, and I liked it a lot. So that eventually, when I had to leave cruise ships, that led to me moving to Philly.
Really? Just one time visiting Philly? You like, I'm moving here.
Well, I had to make a decision because I was arrested. I ended up in jail in Central Florida.
Damn.
I had to find a new home.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you told.
I told you
us
about
that
this on the
story.
road one time. Yeah, we don't have to go into it now because
Yeah.
it's become way too long. But yeah, I was arrested in Central Florida
Right.
and suspended by Carnival Cruise Lines, and so I had to make a new move. And I didn't want to go home to California. I didn't want to go to my dad in Seattle. I felt like I was still immature,
Right.
but mature enough to know that if I went back home to my parents, I would probably be too dependent on them.
Right.
So I just decided it was better to strike out on my own and just see if I could figure it out. And that's how I ended up in Philly.
Wow.
And I really liked the city when I visited. So it was kind of like, yeah, let's do this. Like, why not? And I've been here since.
That's crazy. And
Yeah.
then that's how we linked up the many years ago.
Yeah, so we first met in 2010, I think it was, or was it before? Or 2009?
Before that.
Dude,
or
I think it
was
was like
before that.
2008, bro.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
been a minute. But that was a random call from your dad's friend, one of your
Yeah,
dad's friends that called
right.
me, just being this young, eager saxophonist in town. So I felt lucky to be called for that gig because all the guys in the band were more your dad's generation.
Yeah.
I was a younger guy in the
Seasoned
band.
guys. We were all the same age, so we were like,
I was kind of.
we were like, yeah, bring
I
it.
felt older than you guys too. I was like, man, I'm older than these kids. But either way, I remember the first rehearsal we had at the house.
Yeah.
Just being like, well, these guys are really cool. I felt like I was like cracking into this whole different world that I knew nothing about.
Right.
It was like, whoa, New Jersey.
Yeah.
It's kind of that too. Like, New Jersey, these guys are amazing. Like there's this thing happening in New Jersey.
Rach is cracking up right now.
I think we were the only thing happening right at that point. But yeah.
Yeah, but it was great. It was really cool.
Yeah,
You know,
we got a little clip from that show. Let's play a little bit of that.
Oh boy. Roll that footage.
I got a couple clips here.
Play the first one where we're singing and you can see Corey on stage.
I remember reviewing this. I'm like, yo, I am swimming in my clothes.
Joe, we all look so.
There it is.
Oh no, this is the one with him soloing.
Look at
Yeah, look at that young. Oh, no, that's not it. That's Freddie.
That's Freddie.
Oh, there we go.
I just like to point out that I'm wearing a white T-shirt or something on stage. Like, it took me years to figure out what to wear.
I guess the horn section didn't coordinate the outfits there.
Not at all.
Yeah, go to the other one. Let's see Corey ripping it on his solo.
This would be.
looks so young. Look.
Look how young he looks.
Yeah, shave my face.
Fresh face, boy. Do you talk to any of these guys anymore?
No,
No, none of them.
no. I still throwing people under the bus.
Yeah.
I still see Stretch every once in a
Okay,
while.
really?
Yeah,
I
every
haven't
once in a
seen
while.
him.
He
Yeah,
is
I haven't
killing.
seen him forever.
I haven't seen Stretch since my dad's benefit thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Toby Johnson. No, Chunk was playing that gig.
Toby was supposed to be on it, but he subbed it out to Chunky.
Chunky,
Yeah.
he was in Don't Call Me Francis for a minute when I was in that group.
Okay.
So we would play together, and then I see him every once in a while. I saw him most recently. His cousin Lil Jon, the drummer, was in town, and he was at this concert they did in Philly at the Painted Bride. The last time I saw James Dennis, he knocked my saxophone over, and
And you were like, I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Oh yeah, that was a little rough experience, but
Yeah.
it all worked out.
But
But
on purpose or what? What was
I don't want to tell that story.
Okay,
really,
I got you.
But I don't think it was on purpose. Though,
Okay.
but it did happen,
Right.
and it damaged my horn.
Wow.
Dang.
But it's a horn that I didn't care about and no longer own.
Oh, okay.
I mean, at the time I did, but it
Right.
wasn't like my baby. It was a endorsement horn that I was using at the time. So, anyways, but it was still frustrating. you
Yeah,
know,
of
like,
course.
the horn got screwed up. Anyways, so moving right along.
Yeah. No, but so that's
Yeah.
that's when we met.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about that is like we kind of went our separate ways. You were
Yeah.
doing your thing, we were doing our thing. We right after that show is when we went to LA to do the MTV show right after that.
Okay.
And you started playing like with a bunch of people. You started playing with like the Roots and a bunch of people in Philly.
Yeah. I remember I started basically working with Jeff Bradshaw, local trombone player. And he had a group called Brass Heaven that played at Warm Daddy's every Thursday. So here's the history.
Yeah. This is where Rachel knows.
This
you
is where
from.
Rachel knows me from. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like that was kind of like I started going down there because I was like I need to figure out who the people are that are playing with the artists that I want to be playing with because I wanted to tour with like pop and R&B and like hip hop. I wanted to do that.
Right.
I didn't want to be a jazz guy.
Right.
And so I started seeking those people out. And, I found out that Brass Heaven played every Thursday at Warm Daddy's, and I started going down there and just sitting in, and then eventually started playing with the band, filling in for their other saxophone player when he was out of town, Lamont Caldwell. He was out with Jay-Z, like in and out of town, so I would fill in for him. And then Jeff started calling me sometimes for his own gigs, and eventually that led to him asking me if I wanted to play with the Roots for 4th of July on the Parkway.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that was the first time. It was 2010. That was the year that
Dude, I remember. Wasn't Maya on that show?
No.
Okay, I thought.
I remember
maybe that
he
was
had
like
the-
I remember.
That might have been a different
you playing
year.
with Maya one year.
I didn't play with. I don't recall Maya.
I remember that, dude.
I don't know about Maya.
I think I'm right.
I played with Maya
Yeah.
in New York.
I think I'm right, bro.
Played with Maya in New York, but I don't remember Philly though.
Oh, okay.
But either way,
I remember.
well, the first concert I did was Chuck Brown. Actually, it was the Roots, but they featured Chuck Brown and Chrisette Michele.
Okay.
But it was before they. It was the year before they had the whole concert to themselves. So the Goo Goo Dolls were the headliner.
Right.
But that was really fun. And then the next 4 years, I played the 4th of July with them, and that was great. And
Yeah.
every year, it was awesome to do it. And what would have been the 6th year for me was I was in Italy because I had started working with John Legend, so I was out on tour with him. And
And how did you get hooked up? How did you get connected with that?
honestly, it kind of for me, I felt like it came out of left field. I wasn't expecting it or didn't know it was on the horizon or anything. Basically, John was out on a string tour. He was on his All of Me string tour, and he wanted to go back apparently to like his old format of band, which was like a full normal band, like keys, guitar, bass, drums,
Right.
and a horn section,
Yeah.
and background singers. But they wanted to reform the band a bit, and so I got called in like October or so of 2014. But I really wasn't expecting it, but it was because my good friend Chris Stevens, Camden native, and Aaron Good, trombone player, were in the horn section, and they wanted me there. And so I was the last one to get hired for the section, and we started rehearsals in December of that year. But I had no idea.
Yeah.
I got a random call from the music director, Man, and it was just like,
Yeah.
I mean, I remember hanging up the phone and just being like, sort of those things happen. You're like, you feel like you're
Yeah.
floating.
Right.
What just happened? Like, what?
That makes sense though, because John is Philly based and went to University of Pennsylvania for a while and like lived in Philly for a while.
He went to UPenn. He's from Ohio.
Okay.
But he went to UPenn, and that's when his career started to take off.
Yeah.
And so he's always had a Philly-based band. And I remember when his like Ordinary People hit, and he first got like a big band with horns and stuff like that. Like I remember when those guys got hired. Steve Cherpak was playing trumpet. Aaron Good, who I toured with, got hired for trombone, and Alan Arthur got hired for saxophone. I remember when they started and being like, "Whoa, goody! Like you're gonna go tour with John Legend." And I would link up with them when they come home, and so I remember when that happened. But although I knew he had a Philly band, it was never on my radar that like I would get called.
I've
for
heard
that.
about him talk in interviews about how, especially with U of Penn, but then the music director and the program there, that was also very affiliated with the Philly churches. That's like a whole network. And so that network was kind of already happening. And he was like, that, like exactly what you're describing is how he got in. Like, let me find the people who are working with the people that I want to work with and try and just be good at doing what I do.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
That makes sense. I mean, he has a great band.
Yeah.
It's a very, very good band. I love playing with them, and it's some of Philly's finest, in that group, and it's a very high level music experience playing with them.
And that's the funny thing, because that's how we kind of reconnected, was because of that. You, I guess Chris bringing you in to do stuff with like Vertical Current or whatever, and then Jordan, we had someone else that was originally going to do guitar for Freddie Jackson, and then he ended up putting out an album, and he needed to go on tour, so he was like, I can't really do it, but there's this guy Jordan, he's a good player, give him a call. So I called him up, and he, was dope, and he came in and learned the music real fast, and we did a couple shows, and it worked out. And then we ended up needing a drummer, and he brought in Brandon, and then I asked both of them, because I knew you, and I knew we needed a sax, and I was like, man, it would be dope if we could get Corey, but I'm just thinking like, oh, he's busy with John Legend and whatever he's doing. So I was like, let me just ask those guys if they know anybody. So I asked both of them, and both of them, the first name they said was Corey Riker. And I was like, and I was like, Corey, I know Corey, man. I was going to ask Corey, but they're like, yeah, just see if he's available. So I remember I hit you up, and you're like, yeah, man, I'll do it.
Yeah, and it's I'm very thankful for that because you guys have, I mean, I had good memories from when we first met.
Yeah.
But then obviously we know each other much better now.
Yeah, definitely.
And Freddie brought us together, and
Yeah.
I'm very thankful for it.
Yeah, we've had some good times, man. Some good travelings. I wish we could had more, but
Yeah, but it's when you're traveling, you're doing it because it pays.
Yeah.
You're working.
right.
Right, but the thing I love about Freddie's group is that we just have such a good time hanging out that it's like, sometimes we have to deal with some, the 5 a.m. flights.
Yes, 5 a.m. flights, and then the sound checks that are always like,
Yep. The driver losing the keys to the car.
Oh my god,
And,
that was
That
crazy.
is
It's
a
like-
crazy
Yeah.
story.
there's it's like real touring.
Yeah.
It's not the worst touring, like you're in a
Right.
van driving across the country type stuff, but it's
it's kind of a grind.
you have to want to be there
Yeah.
to a certain level, and but that's what's so great about this group because
Yeah.
it's like even when the gig's over, we're like still it's like, well, what are you doing?
yeah, yeah. Let's hang out.
Yeah,
let's hang out. We
land at the airport.
we've been at the airport since 3 a.m. and we just worked all day. But let's hang out.
Yeah, you want to go get something to eat before you head home?
Yeah.
Let's go get something. Let's go forward.
That's the thing, like, that's so important to me about the type of guys that we bring around because I know how things can get, and if you have one wrong attitude, like that key situation,
Yeah.
if you have the wrong people, like, thankfully Pudge was on that gig, remember?
Yeah,
and
that's
he
right.
was super cool about
Yeah.
it. That was his first gig with us.
Yeah. Wow.
And he was super chill about it because most people would be like, what is going on,
So for your listeners, I don't know if you covered this before.
We've
but-
never talked about this before.
So the woman, there was a woman who was supposed to pick us up in a cargo van. She got to us. She met us at baggage claim.
Yeah.
But then let us know that she lost the keys to the car. And she had driven 2 hours to meet us at baggage claim. And so we had to sit in baggage claim and wait for somebody else to drive another set of keys down.
So we flew into Houston, right?
No, we flew into.
We flew into Dallas.
We were supposed to fly into Houston, but
We
there was
flew
a
into Dallas
hurricane.
because there was a hurricane, but the show was in Killeen, Texas, which ended up being a 3-hour drive
Okay.
from Dallas to Killeen.
Yeah.
So she drove 3 hours to meet us at the airport, and then when we finally get the baggage claim, we find her because I'm calling her to see where she's at, and we find her, and she's frantically like looking around because she lost the keys to the van that we're supposed to go now drive 3 hours after flying early as heck in the morning. We're supposed to drive 3 hours to Killeen, Texas to check into our hotels. So we're all just sitting there waiting, trying to figure out what is she doing. We're like trying to help her, but there's nothing we can really do. So then we get in touch with the driver company, and they're talking about sending someone else to come get us, or with a spare key.
Yeah, spare keys, yeah.
From another 3 hours away.
From another
Yeah.
3 hours
Oh,
away.
awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Which is what ended up happening. Like, we had no choice but to wait. For them.
I got so frustrated. I remember I went out to the parking garage and found
You
the van and looked for the keys.
Yeah, you tried to find the keys yourself.
Like I just sick
Yeah.
of sitting at baggage claim. She also was, she was nice. She was a nice lady, but just kind of like, come on.
She was just kind of like, how do you have this job? Remember, she didn't know how. She was asking us how to get there.
Yeah.
She didn't remember how to get there.
It was,
She was following the GPS and turned around a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Off the highway.
and she also had like a pet peeve of mine with certain folks in a situation like that is it also wasn't her fault somehow.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
no, this is totally your fault.
Yeah.
But but we are a patient group of people, and we
Yeah.
got through it.
We
and
got
can
through that.
laugh about it, and we still had a great show.
We had a great
They're
show.
always great shows. I feel like so. It's like we were
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was rough. But yeah, we've reunited
Yeah.
via Freddie, and we've had some great experiences too.
Yeah, it's been fun, man. Seattle is another great
Yes,
experience.
Seattle.
The first time we met Melissa.
Yes, my
which
wife, yeah.
was hilarious. She wasn't your wife at the time.
She was
your,
not, no.
She was your girlfriend, and your long time girlfriend.
Yes.
And we were meeting her for the first time. And since we were in Seattle,
I need to pour myself a drink.
Since we were in Seattle, there's certain things that are illegal in Seattle that
Gummy bears. Are
yeah,
the ones.
yeah, gummy bears.
gummies.
It literally was gummy bears. But so a couple of the guys in the band, you know, were excited about the fact that we were in Seattle. So we went after the show. We went.
I would say a couple of the guys weren't excited.
Not mentioning
so
any
therefore they
names.
were fine.
Right.
Everyone else was
Yeah. So we went to the dispensary, and I remember like just trying to ask the guy like, "Yo, which one should we?" And he was no help at all. So we just bought some gummies, and
The three of us, me, Jake,
we split it.
split.
Yeah, we split it because we were like, we're not gonna, go crazy. We didn't know, and then I'm asking the ones that are supposed to know this stuff, like, "Yo, how much of this are we supposed to take, or whatever?" And
they're all giggles at that point.
their
so they know
information
how-
was
yeah.
so off. Their information was so off.
They're like, well, I don't know. I normally do this.
Right.
Yeah, but you're like seasoned.
Yeah, exactly. So I just remember. Being on the way to the restaurant when it finally kicked in, like
Yeah.
in the van, and then like all of a sudden Seattle became like this weird, scary place for me.
Great. Paranoia.
I didn't go, by the way.
Yeah, Simone.
I didn't
No.
go because
Bro.
I took one and I took the second one right away. I was like, I don't feel anything. I'm just going to eat the second one. So it hit me before, like right before we went. I was like, man, I'm too messed up. And I know I'm always
So-
the first one to drive. I'm like, I can't drive like
Yeah.
this. So I'm just going to go to
So
sleep.
first of all, we were supposed to only have a half of one. Okay.
These are my questions.
Yeah. We were supposed to only have. We learned this through process
After.
afterward.
Okay.
Half of one was like still
Good.
yeah
Good.
extra good. We all had two.
Yeah.
Full ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All of
Steve also had
Yes.
not Steve.
yes.
Also,
some version of a Steve somewhere.
there was this guy,
Stefano.
not the Steve you're thinking of, a different Steve that was with us on that trip.
Steve, the cab driver that was taking us.
Yeah.
He had
The
some,
guy we met in Seattle.
Yeah, I remember you
yeah.
were on the balcony.
Yeah,
I stayed away from that because I was
Yeah.
worried.
He
Yeah.
had a very, very high grade jazz cigarette.
Yeah.
That was
Jazz
like
cigarette.
on a whole other like I don't even know where this
Yeah.
comes from type. And I had some of that. So I guess the point we're trying to make is that we were all so unfamiliar with what we were feeling that
Yeah.
by the time we got to dinner, and I had hyped up this to Melissa so much, like I can't wait for you to meet these guys.
Yeah.
They're so awesome.
Oh my God.
We're just always having fun together.
Yeah, we're
The shows
laughing.
are
It's
great.
so great. Yeah.
And we all get to dinner, and none of us can say a word to each other. We couldn't even look at each other in the eyes.
And Melissa's like asking questions, and we're just kind of like staring into
Staring into
space,
the table
and just
like nothing.
Yeah, and I remember going into this pizza place, and this is like right around all the weird like Pizzagate stuff
Pizzagate.
that was happening.
Oh, no.
And remember they had children's books as the menus.
Yeah.
It was so weird. And then like. Remember they brought the receipt out in the little purse.
Yeah, they
that
were
give-
old like women's clutches. Like,
yeah,
vintage-
clutch purses.
Yeah, clutch purses. That's where they serve the receipt.
And then there was like super hipster people just walking by the whole time, like in these weird outfits. And I was just tripping off of all of that stuff. Like
the waiters
where
were
are-
very sort of like odd.
Oh.
Like you knew this guy was like an English lit major. that
Yeah,
just
yeah.
Didn't like liked being alone all the time.
Seattle is already one of those cities, but then with the edibles added in, it was just. And then when we left the rest, I just remember like being embarrassed because Melissa was like, "You guys are done.
What's
Like,
wrong with
yeah,
you?"
what is
Yeah.
wrong with you?"
Like, yeah.
But I remember leaving the restaurant, and then for some reason there was this barrage of homeless people. Do you remember that?
yeah.
They were like coming out of everywhere. I felt like it was like a gauntlet of homeless people just, and it was probably only like two guys, but it felt like they were coming from everywhere. Like, give me your money. It was crazy. And then one of the guys, don't want to call him out. Remember he got lost trying to find the van?
Yes, of course he did.
He got lost.
Yes.
The one that would get lost.
Yeah. He got lost. He couldn't find his way back to the van. I remember Brandon was just laughing at us because he didn't do any of that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle.
That was a good run though, because that was Seattle, San Diego.
Yep.
We all had more fun after that night. I think
Yes.
we all like reeled it in a bit.
Yeah. And the worst part was, and I was trying to, I sent a picture to these guys, but we can't find it because when I got back to the thing about the Seattle gig is at this place called Jazz Alley, which is like this real cool jazz club in Seattle. And they let you stay in this condo that they've made for the artist that performs. You stay in this big condo, and everyone gets their own room, and it's real cool. The room that I was staying in had the weirdest paintings on the wall, and like me coming in that state and just like being by myself, and it's like late at night now, and now I'm like looking at these paintings, and one of them was, if I could describe it, it looked like the Pope, but if the Pope was an alien with like really long hair and like the Pope hat on, and then it was holding a baby that had like, it was like a little Pope, like a midget Pope baby. And the midget Pope baby was like holding like a sword or something in its hand, and then there was like planets around it.
You lying, bro.
No, he's not
I'm
lying.
not lying.
I wish I can find this.
It was it was so creepy, and then I'm like, I gotta sleep in this room by myself. But the next day it was fine.
Yeah, we all,
Yeah. Actually, the next day was not fine yet. It took a few hours, and then it was fine.
we had our fun. Next time we go to Seattle, that won't happen again.
Yeah, last time we went, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the pizza this time.
Yeah, just the pizza.
Just the weird pizza. That pizza is good, though. I actually been back there since. It was Rocco's Pizzeria.
I don't even
in Seattle.
remember what the pizza tasted like.
I went there last time I was in Seattle, actually, and it was not as hard to deal with the children's menu.
What's the name of the place?
Rocco's.
Rocco's, okay.
Yeah.
So if you go there, just don't be alarmed by the drink menu being in children's books. And
in the purse.
The purse as your receipt. Yeah,
your bill coming in a purse. Right on.
Yeah, that is some Seattle vibes right there.
Yeah,
for sure.
Very strong.
I think the only place I've ever been that was more like super hipster trendy than that was Portland. When we went to Portland.
Yeah.
Remember we went to Portland, dude, and we went to that restaurant, and it was like in this old mechanical shop.
Yeah, they had old machines and
they
stuff
were
like
using like the stuff to make the food, and there was dudes riding by with like the suspenders and on the weird, like, those old timey bikes.
that. Yeah, yep. With the stash, with
The stash, with the
curl.
old timey bike and the suspenders. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I haven't spent enough time in Portland to really witness the Portland.
Yeah, I think we were out there for some college show or something. We played somewhere. I think we played somewhere else in Oregon, but we flew into Portland, and that's why.
That's right.
That's why we were there.
Oh yeah, I remember we did a college out there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember.
All right, so then we carried on doing that.
Yes.
But now we're fine.
Now we're fine.
And now we're still playing with Freddie. We're
What are
still
we looking
hanging.
at?
What is this? Is this the menu from Rocco's?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow, she found.
She found the children's book. I mean, once you get inside the menu, it's cool, but opening it feels a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Especially when
Children's
you're...
books on the table, yeah, but crazy.
Yeah.
I tried, guys.
You tried. Oh, you gotta pee.
He's got to use the restroom, so we can talk about Moon.
Yeah, let's talk about Moon.
All right. Yo, I remember when I met Moon, and I was kind of scared of him.
For real?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he had really long hair with the braids.
Oh yeah.
I was like, this dude looks like he's ready to kill somebody. This dude looks gangster right now.
Dude, why do people say that about long hair? I guess because they were braids.
It was yeah. He just he was like very like his look was very strong.
Yeah, Jake had long braids too.
Yeah, he did.
Remember? Yeah.
Yeah, but Jake's face is nicer.
Okay. Simone has that grill. Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like you would not want to mess with him.
Right.
Jake looks a little nicer.
Yeah, I mean, Moon, he definitely has those tendencies. If you get on his bad side.
Yeah, you could tell there was some fire under there.
Yeah.
Nice guy. But I was like, dude, this dude's gangster. It kind of reminded me like some of the dudes I wouldn't mess with, where I grew up. Like
yeah.
Like, okay. This is
He-
leave him alone.
So he's telling us how you look like a Mexican gangster.
I didn't say Mexican.
Well,
Why'd
I
you
figured
say
I
that?
figured where you grew up. You know.
Yeah, well, that was an assumption.
that's my assumption based off
There,
of.
there was a strong Filipino population. where I
Okay,
grew up, too.
so
I know
Filipino
Bruno's not
gangster.
Filipino,
I was close.
Yeah.
but
I've gotten everything. Anywhere I go,
Yeah, remember
You're
when we,
one
were
of
on,
them, right?
when we did a Latin tour once, where we like toured all around just doing like Latin shows,
yeah.
and everyone thought he was Mexican the whole time.
Yeah.
So Corey was telling, he was saying that you look scary when he first met us. And then I just thought about, remember when we were on MTV and everyone was saying how, like everyone there was saying, because of you and Jake and like your tats and everything, they were like, you guys look like you just got out of prison or something.
So I wasn't far off.
Until you meet us.
And then you hear,
Yeah.
then you hear like him singing high notes,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know what it is? Like, yeah, so not.
I didn't. Nah, the high notes did not.
it didn't
I was
affect it
still
at
like,
all.
yo, this dude's like swole. He's like flexing on the mic with these braids, his long hair. And he's like,
Can you do you think you could find an old picture of Bone? You could probably could. Old picture of Chang with the braids.
I'm not swole anymore, and I'm
oh,
a happy guy.
oh, stop it.
He's a lot happier with that beer and that scotch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Scotch did it.
Yeah, man.
I was trying to hang on for the longest. I'm like,
Yeah, I feel you. That scotch makes you have to go.
Oh. So now, yeah. So Freddie.
Yeah,
and-
Freddie.
And yeah, so we're doing that. I'm still touring with
Still
John.
touring with John.
Yeah, which is great.
Right.
what's the last place you went with John?
Well, we've been quiet. He did a Christmas album that was very good. It's very good.
Nice.
And we
I love
toured
Christmas
that.
music.
Dude, it's just a great record too. It's kind of like when I told people like, I don't like Christmas music. I'd be like, forget that it's a Christmas album. Just
Yeah.
listen to it because it was a really great record.
Did you? Oh, Rachel's cracking
Oh, she got
up.
it. Oh, see,
yeah.
he looks mean there. Man. He's
Yeah.
mean mugging.
Be mugging the
I
camera.
mean, all y'all
Yeah.
except Jamie.
I always
Perfect.
I look more mean now because I grew a beard.
Yeah.
You know.
So yeah, we did a Christmas tour, and that was great.
Yeah.
It was really fun, and that was actually like the most challenging work I've ever done in my career.
Really?
Yes, that show.
Did you play on the record?
No, so Raphael Sadiq produced the record, and
Oh.
he used his guys to record it out in LA. And it was a mix of familiar Christmas songs and some originals.
Right.
And but it was so much fun to learn. But I mean, there was for the first time ever in John's recording career, there was a lot of horns on the record
Oh wow.
and a lot of strings. He's used a lot of strings before, but never has he used horns like that. And it was like a lot of horns.
Yeah.
I think there was maybe 5 or 6 guys in the studio, but they were stacked, and multi-instrumentaling, and so it was a lot of bases for a 3-piece horn section to cover. But we did it. I reorchestrated all the stuff, and we put it together, and I think we pulled it off really well. But the music was really, really demanding.
Yeah.
They were almost like, some of them were like big band arrangements. And with John, from the gate, the standard is you memorize everything, which is pretty normal, I guess, for a lot of band situations.
Yeah.
But it gets a little bit different when you're talking to like horn players and
Yeah.
string players, expecting them to memorize stuff. But we did, and that took a lot. It was a lot of work before we started rehearsal and the shows to get that stuff just like locked in, because they were not easy parts. And then we just his hits, but then on top of that, we also worked with a choreographer on the last tour, the same choreographer, this guy Jamel McWilliams. But so we added a bunch of choreography to this music that was
Yeah.
already super demanding, like way, like 3 times more demanding than his pop stuff.
Right.
Like, just on a whole different level. And then adding choreography and staging, it was a lot of work.
Right,
And it was
yeah.
really challenging. But I mean, I remember at the end of the tour, John had a little party for us. actually, we ended the tour playing a private event in Vegas for New
Oh,
Year's
nice.
Eve. So it wasn't a Christmas show, but we played a couple Christmas songs. But it was like right back to pop stuff.
Right,
But
right.
Anyways, there was a he got us a booth at a club to kind of hang out
Yeah.
at the end of the tour, and I went up to him and found my moment and just said, hey, this was the most challenging part of my career ever. Like
Yeah.
the challenging thing I've ever had to do in my career, and like thank you.
Yeah.
Because it made me realize like the level I could achieve
Mm-hmm.
of playing, memorizing, retention, consistency, dancing,
Yeah.
like all that stuff, and just like 2
I mean,
months
we could
straight.
pull up the dance moves you was kicking on that show at Wiggins Park here again if you want.
I would prefer that we look past that, as that was not dance moves.
There was some two-step choreography going
There
on.
might have been a two-step in there.
Speaking on all that work, man, like just being a musician, that's what people look over when you tell them you're a musician,
Right.
you travel,
You
you
travel.
get to go.
They think
here.
it's all fun.
It's all fun and games.
They think you're just having a great time. You're not working. You're basically. They think you're on vacation.
yeah.
And sometimes like it's people don't understand how you have to. What do you?
Pour a little boop boop.
Go ahead, man. Boop boop boop.
Boop it up.
You have to, especially if you're gonna be married and have a family. You have to have someone that gets that you're working, and they don't feel like you're just out living your best life or whatever. You know what I mean? Because it can feel like that sometimes, especially like it's like, oh, you're going to like you're going to where are you about to go to? Aruba, yeah. We're going to Grenada soon, and it's like when we do those gigs, you
Family members are always
they're
like, "Are you
you're
bringing your
lucky."
wife?
Yeah, I remember that.
We're working.
Were you at the Jamaica gig?
No.
Okay. Well, I just remember that. Like, everyone was like, "Oh, you're going to Jamaica. You're so lucky, dude." We didn't spend 2 seconds, not working. We got there and we were out the next day because we had to be somewhere else. So it was like you don't get to enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's not like
Sometimes you do.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in my touring experience, I feel like I'm pretty good about taking advantage of where I'm
well,
going.
the John
But
tour is a little different.
It's a little different.
than the Freddie.
It is. Yeah, and that's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true. But it's still, you still have to put out effort. It's not
Right.
handed to you.
Of course. Yeah. You got to work. You got to put your work in.
Freddie is tough for a spot date.
Right.
Forget Freddie. Like that, we're not like naming him specifically, but anytime you do a spot date, it's gonna be tough because
Yeah.
you fly in, especially if you're flying in the day of the gig, you playing and then you're flying out. So you're not gonna be able to do anything.
Right.
But even with spot date with John, you fly out the day before. You maybe that night you can go out and find a restaurant if you want to get up early the next day and go do something cool. But your sound check, and
Yeah.
then you play the concert, and then your flight's probably early going home.
Right.
If you're gonna go do something, you got to be on it.
Yeah.
But when you're on tour, that's different.
That's different.
That's easier to dig into places, and I'm pretty good about it, so I can remember better the places. Well, I remember the places I've been, but there are places that stick out to me that I didn't hit the ground running. And I'm
Yeah.
like, man, I missed that place.
Right.
That bothers me because I don't
Like
know
what?
Malmo, Sweden.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, it was a rainy day. I had to knock out a recording session.
Mm.
That was with Melody Gardot, but I missed it. I just didn't have the energy or the time to get out on the town, and it frustrated me.
Yeah.
Even for my cruise ship days, I missed a day in Belize. I remember that. Like I didn't go out
Yeah.
in Belize.
I feel like you missed out.
Yeah, because I like to try to get my surroundings and.
Yeah. I feel like that sometimes too, where it's like I really didn't get to see anything. I always try to make it a point to do something, That's why, like, even with our spot dates, we'll be like, all right, what we doing after the show,
Yeah.
Even if we got to be at the airport at 5 a.m., it's like,
Eating is always a good option.
yeah,
Food,
that's
man,
usually what we
that's-
do. If anyone follows us and sees our stories and our Instagram, you know that we're always looking for a place to eat or just hang out and have drinks or whatever.
Yeah, meet some locals. It's always
Yeah.
nice to like mix with the locals a bit, especially when you're out of the country. But yeah, anywhere.
Yeah.
It's. I was jealous when I saw your snaps in Chicago and you were at Giordano's.
Oh,
getting
yeah,
dish
yeah,
pizza.
yeah. Well, we went there for Jordan because, to be honest, we're like, nah. We've been there. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
I
It's like we've been there, done that. Jordan never had it, and Mike never had it, so they wanted to go there, and it was really the only thing open anyway. So
Yeah.
you know, I had wings. I was like,
I felt sick after I ate those wings.
yeah.
A little too greasy.
Giordano's. Get sick off the wings. Is this my call?
Listen,
See, I just threw something else under the bus.
yeah, well, we're not gonna get a Chicago pizza sponsor now.
Right. Dang.
Yeah,
All right. Yeah. I mean, I understand. You know, you try to.
yeah. But like that West Coast run that we do is always cool because we spend a couple days in Seattle and then we spend a couple days in San Diego.
Yeah.
And last year we spent a couple days in Oakland, so because we played Yoshi's, so it was like a whole nice little stretch where we got to get out and do stuff, and
Chill out. Work
that's
out.
always fun. Yeah, work out, go to the pool. You know.
But according to your wives, none of this ever happened. You had no fun and you were working the whole time.
No, we're very open and honest about the fun that we do have. Like, you can't expect us to just, you know, what are we supposed to do?
not
Just
have
sit in our
any
room
fun.
with our
Yeah.
arms crossed? Like, no.
That's what you tell them.
Yeah. I mean, we were in St. Lucia playing volleyball every day.
Yeah.
on the beach. Plus, it's always on our Instagram, so it's not like we can hide it.
I know. I had a guy, when I first started touring with John, someone suggested to me that I don't like share everything that I'm doing out there with my girlfriend,
Yeah.
wife now.
But it depends who you're with, though.
Yeah, I disagree.
Yeah.
You know, because I get it. You know, it's kind of like, yeah, she's at home working a job she wasn't a big fan of at that time, and
Right.
hanging out on a beach on the Persian Gulf, which mind you is beautiful,
Right.
And
Or in Dubai or some shit.
yeah, I mean that's I was
Yeah.
we were in Bahrain. I remember that's what I'm thinking of specifically, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this is amazing.
Yeah.
Day off, and like this place is great. You know, but I think the solution that I've figured out to keep the peace is that I try to involve her as much as I can.
Right.
You know, and keep the open line of communication going. And that makes
I mean, I
everything-
think if you're with the right person,
Yeah.
they're going to be happy for you regardless.
Right.
And it's not about what they're missing out on. You know what I mean? It's about you. I mean, especially if you're with someone who's met you doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, sometimes they just choose wrong, you know?
Maybe, yeah, or just stuff's a little too wild at home for, you know,
Yeah.
I can understand the guilt, you know, but hey, you're right. You know, maybe this person was dealing with different variables than I am, but I'm
Yeah.
kind of like, nah, like this is exactly what happened,
Right.
You know, and but also I've included her in some of the
Yeah,
travels. We've
yeah.
done some really cool stuff.
She came to Seattle. You're bringing her to Italy. Like,
Yeah, she's coming to Italy. We've been to a lot of places, like Paris a couple times, and
She's been more
Finland.
places than Juanita. When she asked me, "Can I get
Well, again-
can I get a plane ticket?"
Again, the
I'm
John,
like,
the John Legend budget is a lot different than the what we're dealing with. But
some more bloop bloop.
all right,
got some
you guys talk. I'm gonna hit the bathroom.
okay. What you want to talk about, Boo?
Whatever you want to talk about.
All right.
We can talk about Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, no, I can't talk sports. I told them earlier that the only contribution I have to sports is telling people to follow fake WIP collar on Twitter.
I know. What's the craziest shit that you ate on the road? You're not adventurous like that, though.
Oh, I will correct you, sir. No, I am adventurous.
I
adventurous.
challenge you.
Okay. I mean, this isn't that adventurous. We'll start off softball. I'm just trying to remember stuff. In Portugal, we did an end tour dinner, and I ordered octopus because it just was like, wow, like when else am I going to just like get octopus for free? And it was like literally just like an octopus was flung onto my table, like you. Like it wasn't like cut up nicey and like into the pasta or
It was
something.
the
like
head and
It was just like fillet of octopus or something, you know, like an octopus steak with the tentacles and like the suction cups on the plate. And it wasn't that good. It was kind of chewy, and I didn't. But either way, I ordered the octopus.
Octopus is kind of chewy if you overcook it.
Okay, Seattle Mariners This is a little bit of it's a little
I
bit
asked
of a
him
brag.
what's the craziest shit he ate on the road.
Okay, so Seattle Mariners. I was with John. We played a show in Seattle at the Chateau Saint Michel Winery, but I had hooked up a little side gig to play the national anthem at a Seattle Mariners game.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And because I did that, we got box seats as a result, and so we had a great view of the game, and we got fed and drank for the game and stuff. But a common snack to have at the Seattle Mariners game is fried grasshoppers. Yeah, so I had so I ate grasshoppers.
It's a common.
Yeah, like
snack?
it's a thing you can go get. My a friend of mine, Sean Yang, who came to join us.
Sounds Asian to me.
Asians
Korean.
eat some weird shit.
You see South Korea?
That's what I was going to say. Makes sense now.
All right, so yeah, I had, or was it crickets? Maybe it's crickets.
No, grasshoppers.
Grasshoppers. All right, thank God you are.
Rachel's
She's on it, man.
No,
She's
Rachel.
on it.
Right. So yeah, I had grasshoppers, and that happened.
I feel like you would have had that other places though. Like you had to have that
maybe,
in
but-
Seattle.
Yeah, at the baseball stadium. I was like, I don't want
Like-
ballpark nachos.
Yeah,
I
what I
want
was saying.
insects.
I feel like Philippines, like all these other places you've been to, you would have had it there. No.
The Philippines, I had some different stuff, but they eat a lot of pork there.
Oh yeah, look at that. Yummy.
Yeah. ate that.
Yum.
Serve those in like what looks like an ice cream cup, and then it's filled with insects. There you go. That's what I ate.
I would try it.
I would try it.
I'm not scared of that at all.
I didn't like it, but
You
it
didn't
wasn't.
like it? What did it taste like?
I mean, I don't like. It was salty. It's probably
Yeah.
they cooked in a lot of salt and oil.
Yeah.
So it just
Yeah.
kind of tasted like fried.
Crunchy, salty
Crunchy,
stuff.
yeah. Okay. I just had one for you and I lost it. Dang.
You lost it that quick?
I did. I do this all the time with Melissa. She gets so mad at me. Yeah, the Balvenie.
He's trying to think of the craziest because I said you're not that adventurous. So
Yeah, but that's a lie. I am adventurous.
I think Corey's adventurous. More than some people.
Well, what about you? Maybe it'll
Stan.
come back to me. So what about you that you want to do?
man,
one
I've
up me
eaten
right
some
now.
crazy Cambodians eat
First
some
of all,
weird
he's
shit.
Asian. They
Yeah.
probably
Oh, I
eat the
remember.
weirdest shit on the planet.
You remember that I was Asian?
No. I remember what I ate that I was going to share with you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. And this isn't that
Take
crazy.
Moonstring too.
What's that?
He said that. Take Moonstring
Trying
too.
to take everyone's drink.
Take everyone's drink.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm good.
I want to know what you were going to talk about. But okay, so we played in Beirut, Lebanon.
Okay.
So there you go. Here's
Here
an
we
exotic
go.
location. And me and a guy in the band decided to venture out, and it was one of the more memorable days on tour because we were staying at the Four Seasons in Beirut, which is a very nice hotel if you're not familiar with hotels. And but it was crazy because it was in a newer sort of rebuilt part of Beirut. They've been through a lot of war and with Israel and just a lot of war.
Right.
So there were bombed out buildings next to the Four Seasons.
Wow.
You could just look out your window and see it. It was whoa. And,
That's crazy.
and we went walking around. It was definitely one of those things where like management's like, don't tell people you're American.
Yeah.
Just keep to yourself. Maybe just stay in your hotel room type thing. And of course, me and another guy in the band was like, yeah, whatever. We'll just go, go walk around a bit. And we started walking around. And it didn't take even 5 minutes before someone said, turned around to us like, where are you from? And they were from there. And we're like, we're from the States. Like, Americans, we're so happy you're here in our country with us. Like, thank you so much for being here. And we're like, yeah, we're fine. Like, and we went, there was this massive mosque up on the hill, like we could see in the distance. And we found our way to it. And we went inside, took off our shoes and hung out there. And it was so cool.
Wow.
And then we walked down the street and found a restaurant eventually, found this coffee shop. And then we ended up at this restaurant. And it was a Lebanese restaurant. And just ordered a bunch of random food that was recommended to us and everything. And they brought out a cast iron plate of something that we ordered, and I started eating it. And I was like, man, this is delicious. Like, wow, this is so good. And then eventually the waitress comes over and I'm like, what is that? This isn't that exotic, but to me it was new to me. She's like, oh, it's chicken liver. And that,
Jamie.
yeah, that threw me off.
Get Jamie's face.
Yeah, he's like not feeling the chicken liver.
No, I'm saying bro. That is
is
not
not-
exotic.
It's not
at
exotic,
all.
but I never had it.
Chicken liver, bro.
I know, but to me,
I
like,
buy that shit all the time.
okay, right, because it's good for you and everything, right? But to me, it was like it was a fascinating moment because the mental kicked in.
Right.
Something I was totally enjoying and tasted amazing to me. What is this exotic
So
food?
then it became gross
Then
after
he told
that?
me, I was like, I can't eat this anymore. Yeah, I switched off, and I was like, I know that I still like it, but I can't eat
Oh,
it.
that's hilarious.
Yeah. So, anyways, I know not exotic. Okay.
Not exotic.
The
And
most
it probably
exotic-
was amazing the way they cooked it with all the spices and everything.
Food was
Yeah.
very good at this restaurant. It was
Yeah.
very good. Yeah, but other than that, I don't, you know.
I always find it amazing how you can like do those, because you know a lot of people once they get, it's like they say like people can't once they experience a certain level of like anything, they can't go backwards, right? So it's like Corey can do like these amazing gigs where he's flying in private jets and like going to these exotic places and getting paid all this money to, you know, do these great gigs. And then he can come back and do a Freddie show with us and still love it. Like that's interesting to me.
Okay.
It is.
I don't like, I understand what you're saying, but I think that that's like, you're cutting yourself short if you do that. You know what I'm saying? Like if you like reach a certain level of success and you're like, I'm doing this kind of work and I'm super successful and now I can't go back and do anything else. Like everything worthwhile might not pay you the same.
Yeah.
You have to decide what's right
What
for
do you value? Yeah,
exactly.
I get that. I
And,
understand
like,
that completely.
That's like, but it takes a certain kind of
Right.
like maturity.
That's what I'm saying.
And a headspace.
Most
to
people don't
operate
have
like
that.
that.
Most
Yeah.
people don't have that thing where they can understand that everything isn't about my clout. Everything isn't about like, you know, how luxurious I'm living in the moment. It's about, you know, it's about valuing the things that you have.
There's value in a lot of different situations
Right.
and opportunities and people, and you have to have the discernment to kind of be like, oh, okay, this is valuable, and not say, oh, okay, well, it's just this dollar sign that makes it valuable.
Or the rider where you can put the 2 levels up above this on your and it's at every stop, you know what I mean, for you.
Well, how are you being such a hater right
I'm
now?
I'm saying
He's giving.
I'm giving you props.
Oh, thank you.
I'm
but
giving you
that's not
props.
what I do.
Because you don't. Because what I'm saying is you're not the type of person that like makes it seem like you're, you know, slumming it with us. You know what I mean?
No,
like
not
you're not
at
that.
all. I'm not.
You know, but you know how
Well-
like some people can have that vibe where it's like, oh, we got to deal with this. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, some of the promoters that we like.
Right. I think that's a very dangerous attitude to have.
Yeah.
And I remember early on, you know, sometimes people will tell you things and like you have to learn. Most of us have to learn things the hard way, right?
Right.
And that's the easiest way to learn it. But if some of those lessons you can learn along the way, you don't have to learn the hard way. That's incredibly valuable. And one of those things that stuck with me was a friend of mine who was touring with this artist, this singer, all over Europe all the time. And he quit the band because he got sick of being on the road. He got sick of the treatment, basically,
Right.
like the way things were going out there. And his assumption was that, well, I got this gig, so if I just quit this gig, I'll just get another.
I'll get another right.
And that never happened.
Right.
You know, like since, like they've gotten gigs, but like nothing on that sort of level.
Right.
And that artist has grown to a whole different level, you know, and like, you know, so I'm sure there might be a little bit of hindsight there. Like if I would have stuck this out, maybe I, you know, could have done X, Y, and Z. Right. So I think it's a very dangerous attitude to have. I also, going back to, you know, how Rachel and I, you know, first met, is that the Warm Daddies gigs. Like I remember when I was playing Warm Daddies, that was every Thursday. It was like $40 or $50 that we made to play 3-hour-long sets.
Yeah.
And I did it just to like, you know, get my face out there and meet some new people and play. And
Keep
I
your
remember,
chops too.
yeah, it was a lot of playing. It was
Yeah.
good for that. But I remember like Warm Daddies didn't hook us up with food or drink or anything.
Yeah.
And I remember like me and one of my best friends, Ernest Stewart, when he would fill in on the gig, we would usually like, you know, because we were such good friends, we'd kind of make a little bit of a party out of it. But our party was going down to IKEA before the gig, getting 50-cent hot dogs, and then stop by the liquor store
Right.
and getting like a $10 bottle of New Amsterdam gin or vodka.
That's right. You got to do what you got to do.
And then,
Yeah.
we'd go into Warm Daddy's, get like, oh, can I go ginger ale or something like that?
Yeah.
And then take the plastic cup out to our car and make a mixed drink in the car and sit there and bullshit for a half hour. And then come back in a little drunker than we should be.
Yeah, right,
And
right.
finish up the night. But like, I don't lose sight of that.
Yeah.
Because that, and that, like, that had so much value.
Right.
It, like in a like touring with Freddie, which isn't as glamorous as touring with John. If you guys were jerks,
Yet.
we're
working on it.
No,
We're
but the
working
thing
on
is,
it.
if you guys were jerks, or if I didn't
Right.
like the way I was being treated out
Yeah,
there, or anything
yeah,
like
yeah.
that, no, I wouldn't be there.
Right.
But I really like the culture out there, and I like everyone that I'm working with. So, I guess maybe fortunately, I'm in a spot where I don't have to be like, well, I could stay home and play the wedding gig and make the same money or something. I'm like, no, I'd rather have the experience
Right.
of going out to San Antonio or Dallas and the woman losing the keys, getting stuck in badge claim for 3 hours.
Right.
Because I'm with people I want to be
Right.
with. And like
Right.
I'm having a musical experience that I want to have and a life experience.
And then they take us to Chick-fil-A on the way.
No,
as
She
our
didn't
meeting.
know what Chick-fil-A was.
Was it Chick-fil-A?
It was Chick-fil-A,
There was the
bro.
other time we went to Whataburger, but that was probably a different.
That was a different time.
gig. Okay.
Yeah, it was Chick-fil-A because I remember it was like, oh, don't worry, we're gonna take care of you guys, we're gonna feed you guys, and it was like she pulls up at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
And then we all get out. And remember, she came into she was like, she walked into Chick-fil-A. This is what she says, right? She's like, oh, they sell chicken in here?
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I love it.
But you can't buy those experiences. You know what I mean? It's just things that you always remember.
And I think that's something like I keep in I always keep in mind when I'm playing and traveling for work, especially. It's like, what am I really doing here? Mm-hmm. Like you can't. We all have bills to pay. Obviously, we're all trying to make a living, but we chose music.
Right.
This is not an easy way to make a living. Mm-hmm. And like, what do you really want out of it? And usually, in the earlier years, you still want to chase paper a bit. That still happens, but you want those experiences.
Right.
Like this is what we're able to talk about for hours on end. Is like the different situations we've been in and the fun we've had. And we're not talking about the wedding gigs. I can't reminisce about a single wedding
I
gig
hated
I ever
those,
did.
man.
Yeah, I could give you
Hated
like,
those corporate.
oh yeah, I remember that time I had to go to Long Island.
Yeah.
which is far for
Right.
here. Like that time that I got docked $50 because he thought I was late, but I was in my car.
Right, right,
Those are
right.
the memories I have from wedding
Yeah.
gigs. Like it's not. They're great money and stuff, and they're easy and local, but yeah, that's not it.
Right. That's not what you're in it
Yeah.
for.
But I remember the Mexican spot we went to in San Antonio.
Yeah, man. I remember that.
I remember the clubs I've sat in Europe.
Yeah.
Like, and the musicians I've met, and like the castles, and
What was
like,
the private party you were telling me you played in the Middle East?
Oh gosh, were you talking about the wedding?
The wedding. Yeah.
Oh, that's a
yeah,
fun story.
yeah,
This is-
that was a good story.
So yeah, this might okay.
Good.
So I played. So let's set this up. When I first started with John, we had a string of dates in 2015. We started rehearsing in 2014, and then starting New Year's Eve was like a string of spot dates, and then eventually a Europe tour. So in February, we played the Dubai Jazz Festival. We played Bahrain, and then we flew to Houston to play the Houston Rodeo, and then we played this Strawberry Festival in Florida.
Right.
So when I was in Dubai, I was like extra hype, never been to the Middle East, and just like we had a day off, and I got on my sort of side hustle, and I set up this jam session at this local jazz club, Pizza Express in Dubai. And
how did you set that up? Like
email.
just emailing,
Google
just searching places
effort.
to do.
It just took some effort on my part.
This is something I want to talk about because a lot of musicians, younger musicians that will see this, they don't understand about that hustle aspect of it. They just
Right.
want to. They think that once I got the gig, it's all over from there.
Yeah, which most people I think would have that philosophy, and I mean I keep that most of the time. You have to be smart, I guess, and I definitely took some heat for some of the stuff I did.
Right.
But either way, I set up this jam session in Dubai, and invited basically most of John's band that like knew some jazz tunes and stuff to like just come and play, and like, you know, they paid us decent because the Middle East has money,
Right.
in Dubai especially,
Right.
and so we all got paid nicely, and then some local musicians came out to sit in, and I met some friends there.
Right.
Then 4 years later, we played the Dubai Jazz Festival again. I reached out to some of the people, and the piano player that came to the jam session was like, hey, you know, if you want to stick around in Dubai, I'll line up some gigs for you.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would love that.
In Dubai? Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's like you can stay with me in my apartment, and you know, I'll find some work for you. Like, how long could you stay for it? So we worked it out, and then he just basically started putting together gigs. And he called me one day, excuse me, and he said, hey, so I got this gig for you, this private event, but it's a kind of wild. I don't know. I just want to see if you'd be interested in doing it. I said, well, yeah, tell me about it. So, well, it's a wedding in Karachi, Pakistan.
Wow.
And I was like, and he's like, and it pays X amount of dollars,
Yeah,
but it was
yeah.
like XXXX amount of dollars. I was like, yeah, let's do that gig.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, I mean, you know, beforehand, I was like, okay, I got this private, like a couple private events, a jazz gig, this wedding in Pakistan. And I was like, this is cool. I'm going to stay. You know, he's like, I'll sell some CDs maybe or
Yeah.
something. Like, I don't know. So I remember I was already settled in. This was maybe halfway through my trip or towards the end when we did Pakistan. And then it came time to go to the airport. And then it was like, oh my gosh, I'm flying to Pakistan from Dubai.
Yeah.
To play some wedding like
Right.
in Karachi. Like,
Yep.
what am I
What is-
doing?
yeah.
You know, but then I was like, play it cool. You know, like this is an internal battle. Like, you know, whatever. People go to Pakistan. You know, like,
Exactly.
this is okay. I have a passport. I'm allowed to go there.
And then you think about like a lot of the things that I'm afraid of are only things that I've seen.
So it is was a real thing there.
Right.
Pakistan has gone through a lot. And I remember reading something, I think it was maybe a little bit after the fact, but they had talked about how like kidnappings were down 90%.
Oh, shit.
Like from a couple years ago. But either way, we landed and it was just going through, it was kind of wild, just going through security and getting out of the airport. And then we each had separate drivers, which kind of freaks me out. But it was for our protection.
Right.
But I didn't know that ahead of time, so I felt weird just getting in a car by myself.
By yourself, yeah.
Just a dude I've never met in my
And
life.
everyone else is going in separate cars.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And-
crazy.
And they drove us to this hotel in downtown Karachi. But like the drive out, I've been to the Middle East. I've been to Beirut, been to Dubai. I've been to Bahrain. I think that's it. I feel like I'm forgetting one, but either way, Pakistan. When we were driving through Karachi, it was like, this is the first time where I'm like, this is like, I'm in the Middle East.
Right.
Like, holy crap.
Yeah.
This feels like what they show you on TV. when
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about, you know, all the bad stuff, right?
Right.
But I felt fine, but it was real.
Right.
You know, the trucks loaded to the gills with the suspension dragging to the floor.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a family of 5 on a moped.
Wow.
You know, like, and just like
On
stores.
one
that-
moped.
Yeah, all of them. It was wild.
Wow.
Just like the wife would like sit sideways and the kid would be between them, and then one kid in front of the husband, and then maybe another one on the back. Like it was, they loaded them up, and it was like flying down the freeway. But also just like stores that only sold specific car parts, and just looked like so beat,
Right.
and depleted. Like it was wild. We pulled up to the hotel, and it had a huge gate, like fence around it, basically a wall. It had a wall around it,
Right.
with a gate, and the guards had machine guns and mirrors. Pop the trunk, check the trunk, mirrors underneath the car. You know, like want to see your passports. You know, all that kind of stuff just to get through the gate to get to the hotel.
Right.
And it was just like, wow, okay. And like we're all jet lagged. I'm probably hungover because I've been having fun in Dubai,
Yeah.
and we're. You know, just not really jet lagged, but just tired. You know, like, and we have a huge day ahead of us, and we get checked in the hotel, and it's a beautiful hotel, but then we go to this wedding, and this wedding is located on private property, right? So we arrive, we basically walk in, and they have like 300 people working
Wow.
to set up. Basically, they were building a private club on private property.
Right. They were like building the club.
They were
from
building the
ground up.
wedding
Yeah.
party.
The venue.
Yeah, they were building
The
the venue.
venue's being built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While we were there.
Right.
You know, putting down the flooring, hanging the lights. Like, they have the
What?
basic structure up. And we're sound checking, and it's like, you know, it's ratchet. Like, you
Yeah.
know, it's just some BSPA.
Right.
You know, but we're like putting it together. And, you know, there's just people running everywhere. And eventually they're like, okay, cool. Well, are you guys hungry? Yeah, we're hungry. Like, let's go eat. So we get driven to this friend of the family, his family's house. And we pull up to the gate, and they like ring this bell. This dude comes out with a machine gun, and he's like looking at us like, okay. So, you know, they open the gate, they let us drive in. And it's like, and now I feel like I'm in like one of these, like, this is like the gangster part of the movie where like, this is the rich dude from Pakistan who's like, because this place looks like a palace.
He's like, welcome to my home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dude, every bit of it.
Yeah.
Just like in the basically, I guess Arabian or Middle Eastern architecture like is different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just looks. You know, I mean, it just looks different. It looks
Yeah.
like, picture what it might look like in mind. That's
Yeah.
probably what it looks like.
Yeah.
But like huge,
Aladdin. That's right.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it. It was like huge tall walls and these sort of like scroll features.
Yeah.
And like just tall ceilings, big open rooms, like cement houses. You know, like it just looked crazy. And the food we were fed was some of the best food I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
But I wish I wasn't so like spun out, like where I could have appreciated more. But
Right.
it was so good. And they were so insistent that it was like, it's clean Pakistani food, you know? Like, like
Clean.
why do they keep insisting that
It's clean, right,
You know,
right.
it's like, well, because dude, you're gonna blow
Yeah,
up if
right.
like, you know, you don't get the clean food or something. So, but then they took us back into this club that
Yeah.
they built, and this is funny because it was Pakistan is, you know, it's a Muslim country. So like it's basically like Sharia law out there for
Yeah.
the most part. Like no alcohol. Like there's a lot of rules out there.
Yeah.
And without going into detail, I would just say that those rules don't exist on private property. And it was kind of like fascinating that like
Wow.
and it was this moment to me where I was like, okay, whatever. People are like, there's alcohol. There's, you know, there's like there's the hookahs going around. You know, one person was insistent that I try Pakistani hash. You know, like stuff like that, right?
Wow. Yeah.
But then it's like you're like, you know, we're all humans. Like it's kind of like this moment where like it doesn't matter. Like everyone wants that party and have
Yeah.
a good time, and we're all human. And there's times to have fun, and there's times to like really focus, be serious. And anyways, it was a great time, and it was a great experience. However, we barely got any sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't wait to get out of there,
Right.
Because the airport experience, also getting out, was really scary. I have a really nice flute, and I brought it with me like a dummy instead of a cheaper one. And security was fumbling through my case, this guy. And this was a moment where if I was in the States, I could have never done this. But he opened the case to my flute and started like pulling the parts out. And he had no idea what he was doing. He's kind of fumbling in his hand.
Yeah.
I literally grabbed him. It was like, no,
Yeah.
stop. Like, 'cause I
What?
just panicked.
Dude.
I'm like, you can't.
That could have been it for you,
It
bro.
could have been. But it was he
Fuck
just kinda,
that flute, man.
No, that's the thing. I was like, no.
Your life is more important, bruh.
I guess, yeah, it is. But still, it was like this moment of panic because also there was like a complete drop in language barrier. Like,
Yeah.
he didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Like, have you never seen a flute before? Like, but it's probably like, I guess they probably don't have a lot of people coming through with like a Western flute,
Yeah.
you know, through the
Probably.
airport. You know,
Yeah,
like,
man.
what is this thing? So anyway,
So
it-
Chico
I mean,
Huff said, "What's up, Corey?"
Yeah, what's up, Chico? I just played a great, speaking of wedding gigs, I actually just played a great wedding gig with him the other night.
Okay.
That band was smashing. So, hey, what's up, Chico? That was super fun.
And Lily said she worked with you on her album.
Yeah. I just did a bunch of sessions for her.
Yeah, we did a gig with
we
her
did a gig
at-
with her.
Yeah.
Steel City.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
What's
great.
up, Lily?
Yeah, she's great. I finally got to meet her. I did all these recording sessions for her, and then I played at the Center City Jazz Festival. My group played there, and she came to the show, and we got to hang out and talk for a while, which is really
It's
cool.
good people.
Yeah, she's very good people.
She said she totally digs scotch. Have you ever had Cardew? Cardew? How do you say that? Is that a scotch?
I don't know what that is. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Cardew is, but that's my own ignorance.
Yes.
I guess I got to check that one off. But I have had Balvenie 12.
I know nothing about scotch.
Balvenie 12. Wait, I turned it the wrong way.
Balvenie 12.
Like,
Very smooth finish.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good base level scotch. You know.
Yeah.
This is. I'm actually. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
quite
This
enjoying
is for you, man, for doing this. I told you I had a bottle for you.
This is like the blue pill. I just watched all the Matrix movies
Yeah,
again. Like it's
yeah.
on Netflix. I watched all 3 of them in succession. And this is anyways.
Yeah.
I wanted to see how those movies aged.
They still good. They're
What,
still
Matrix?
good. They're
Yeah.
still good
Oh
movies.
man, that's still
The
a great
first one
movie.
is great. The second and the third one are. I think the stories are good, but you know, there's this trend with action movies, which maybe they just followed or either set, where they just became so reliant on CGI.
Yeah.
So all you're watching is
Yeah,
CGI.
right.
Where the first one felt like this really good mix of both worlds.
I agree.
You know, and
I
it's
was
like-
just telling Jake about that. The first one was like, it was so phenomenal that
Yeah.
the second two kind of like, yeah. But they're still good.
They're still good
Yeah.
movies. They are. I think
Matrix
T2.
I put that all.
Well, T2 is like Matrix. I think was the next after Terminator 2.
Yeah.
the Matrix was the next thing to like kind of push the envelope with like whoa.
Yeah.
And now it's just like a free for all.
Right.
And I actually can't really watch those movies.
I feel the same way. Like I still haven't seen. I know people are gonna kill me. I still haven't seen Infinity
Endgame.
War or Endgame. Cause I'm just like, oh man, just watching. I'm watching computerized movies. Like,
There's a lot of that.
yeah, it's just like this. We're becoming the Matrix.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, we are.
we're becoming the Matrix. It's like that podcast I was telling you about with the genetic engineering of kids. There was this dude on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was talking about how the technology to have pretty much in the next 10 years, they're expecting that people will not get pregnant anymore. Like mostly having babies in labs will be the norm because
Okay.
it'll be a more safe way and selective way of having a child. So like for someone to be pregnant will almost be like taboo, like, well, you're taking a risk, you know?
Or you're poor. Like that's how people, like it'll be
yeah.
a
You're
class
poor,
issue.
or you're endangering the child because you're doing things guessing basically, you know. And when you can impregnate 100,000 embryos and then rank them in using genome sequences and say, oh, this one will be the tallest, this one will be the healthiest, this one will be, then you can pick which ones will be your children, and that's where they're at now. What, Rach?
So I was just like, here we
So
go.
they're just planning like a clone world where everyone's going to be like super tall and beautiful and wonderful, except for the poor people.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Pretty
okay.
much. Yeah. That's where we're headed. And with CRISPR, along with that, you can edit out any birth defects. You can edit out any like if you carry recessive genes or any type of like medical genetics.
No more gingers.
Yeah, no
That's
more.
it.
No more
Hey, easy.
gingers are gone.
Easy now,
Hey, listen,
jaywalkers.
come on, man.
JB's got
It's in my
I'm a
genetics.
low-key ginger. I was born with like red hair. My mom had red hair when she was little. It turned brown, but like there's a lot of Irish floating around.
Yeah,
Well, we're gonna get thrown in museums.
yeah. Mine only comes out in my beard, and I don't know. Mine is a result of rape.
Dang.
truth.
All right.
Mine is a result of slave rape.
Hope
That's
said,
for another-
what's up?
that's for
Hello,
another podcast.
gentlemen.
Oh,
Hello,
man.
Hope.
Hello, Hope. How
On
are
that
you?
note, we need some hope right now.
Yeah, yeah, but it's dude. The things that they're doing technologically with AI and with genetics, like they're basically getting. And I think like all of these companies, what is it? 23andMe, Ancestry.com. They're creating these
a library,
data, libraries.
All right. Are you okay with it?
I mean, I have to be like.
Right. So it's fascinating to you, but it's not necessarily wrong. But it's
I don't know if it's wrong.
don't know? We don't know.
It's
There's no
weird.
way.
It's like we don't know what the repercussions.
The
are
question
gonna be
is
of
like,
this.
what is happening?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
It's
like
like-
when you start doing like mass data collection like that, and now there's like not just one, but there's a couple of different companies, and they're privately owned.
Yeah.
You send them your spit, they can do whatever they want with
Yeah.
that. They're privately owned.
Exactly.
So that's super interesting. if
And
you
they
think
can
about
sell that to whoever. And the more and more, it's just like Elon Musk was talking about how like every time we Google search something, every time we upload something to Facebook, we're feeding the AI brain, of our human activity, our behaviors. Like they have AI now that they've developed that can, finish a sentence for you, or it can write articles, write text messages, and make it sound like a human wrote them, just based off of human behavior. And what?
Go ahead. I was going to say, so I put it in the chat, but there's this app called Noisify, which I just found out about.
You told me about that, yeah.
And so, like, that's super interesting, but they developed that to kind of so you install it on whatever your device is, but then it puts random search terms into your Facebook and I think your Google as well over time to just kind of not put you in that bubble of, okay, I talk to these
Right.
people, I look at these things, and now the internet, Google and Facebook feed me advertisements for all of those things. I never see anything new, which actually defeats the purpose of the
Right.
internet, learning things and
We
broadening
got on
your
these
scope.
platforms because we want to be exposed to things outside of what we already know. But the algorithms have been so refined now that it's like they're only feeding you things that what they can.
You already
predict.
tell it you want.
Right.
Yeah.
They can predict what you want to see, and then they just keep putting that in
Okay.
front of you.
Well, I think that's smart marketing. So isn't it kind of the individual's responsibility to get outside of that then? I mean,
Yeah.
that's been
Yeah.
Yeah.
lesser forms of that have been happening for a very long time.
Oh, absolutely.
So I mean,
I agree with you.
I think it's smart.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid of it. I guess
Right.
I'm not afraid of all this technology and AI and data collecting. I'm like, if you're going to volunteer for it, then I'm inevitably curious to see where it's going to go.
I'm curious, and I'm not afraid of it, but I am concerned with the fact that even social media, even the cell phones that we carry now, like we still don't know the effects that they're gonna have on.
You talking about like waves and stuff like that, or
No, I'm talking about just psychologically, like the effects that it's going to have on us as a society in the future. You know what I mean? Like they're finding out from 40 years ago, 50 years ago, the things that they were doing that are affecting the generations now, like the reasons
I mean,
why
I
people
think I just saw a study about how Generation X and baby boomers are like healthier because social media and all that stuff is causing anxiety in like millennials.
Right. Right.
So-
Yeah. There's a lot of things that are troubling. Like teen suicide is through the roof right now. Something that like is great, like never happened before, and something that is definitely correlated to social media. And
or just
Instagram.
gaming.
Yeah, gaming is another thing.
And so like Corey said, though, I think as soon as you kind of like sign up for the platform, like as soon as you get the Gmail account, as soon as you get the Facebook, like you sold your soul to the devil. Like
Yeah.
you get the service, but you have to put up with
Right.
whatever
So-
is happening. And I think you do have to take a lot of responsibility now, especially when it comes to, okay, I have a 13-year-old who wants to get on Facebook.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
let me explain to them like what it's for, what the internet is for. You can be aware of all of these things, but you have to take the initiative as an individual to say, it's collecting my information, I care or I don't, and this is how I use the service.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like,
But it's also concerning when so much of our information is being funneled through, only a few sources, right? And now Facebook is trying to. I don't know if y'all heard about this, but they're trying to get into cryptocurrency.
there's definitely issues with transparency where you sign up, the company says that it's going to, like, these are the rules and these are the standards, and then this is what we do. But as we've seen,
But they also
Yeah.
have.
I don't
They
believe
also have the authority to decide who.
right, as
is
we've seen
allowed.
over the past 10 years,
Right.
usually new things are tested and happening, and the algorithm is changing,
Yeah.
and everything is different, and then you find out about it a year later,
Right.
2 years later,
Right.
but your account and your participation with this social media has been operating off of this new set of standards.
So you said it doesn't scare you, right?
Yeah.
I know this has happened to you because I heard you talk about it before. Like you just talk about something. This happened to me and Juanita a few times where we just talk about something random, right? And then all of a sudden you go
You
on
see
the
an
computer
advertisement for
and then
it.
you go onto your phone or whatever like that, and you see exactly what you're talking about.
That is real.
Yo,
Yeah, that is
they
a real thing.
Are listening, man.
Yeah.
And that creeps me out.
We have a Google Home, and obviously cell phones and everything. But we have a Google Home. in the
Yeah.
house. And I mean, I guess I'm not afraid of this stuff.
Right.
And I think that, well, one, what freaks me out more, I guess, is that somebody, if they really wanted to find out, they can find out where you live.
Oh yeah.
You know, like that to me is
No,
a
that
little
all
freaky.
exists.
Like if they can see your pictures online, or like, you know, see how hot your wife is, or something like that, or girlfriend, or like who you're dating, or where you are. That stuff actually happened to me the other day. I don't want to go into it, but someone was basically tracked where I was because of an Instagram story, and like came and met me there.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and it was
That's
kind of like
real.
a little like, ugh.
That's real.
You know, but yeah, they can find out where you live. Like,
Yeah.
relatively easy. And it's not Facebook, because I don't put my address on Facebook. You know, like it's just the internet. You know, that freaks me out a little bit. But I mean, you could also say the same thing about what we're doing right now.
Right.
You know, I mean, this is basically we're creating data.
Absolutely.
Right now.
I was watching something where they were showing how, especially people that do podcasts, like, and with the have you ever heard of the, like, do you follow like the deep fakes and like these faking accounts where they put people's faces on other people and make it seem like they're doing things? There's a lot of Instagram accounts. Like, it looks so real now already. And where it's headed, and this is stuff that, like, you don't have to be a master at, you know, graphics to do. You can make anyone seem like they're doing anything, you know, by switching their face in videos, or you can even use, like, there's people that take podcasters' voices and make them say anything, because there's such a data collection of all the things that they've ever said. And, you know, you can compile all of that.
I've seen the late night shows do that. Like, they'll do that with Obama or Trump.
Yeah. But I mean,
you know, it's
it'll
like,
sound
it's
real.
comical.
No,
Yeah,
I'm talking about
yeah.
it'll sound real.
Right.
It'll sound like they're really saying it. Like, you can make them sound like they're saying something that they didn't say, you know, which is, that's where it becomes kind of concerning, where it's like, if you want to get someone, you know, deplatformed or demonized, and you
Or
create
impeached.
Yeah, whatever. Or you create this video that makes it seem like they said or did something that they didn't do. It's like, you know, it's
Scary.
It's a little bit scary. It's a little bit scary.
What? Yeah. What if that person's a jerk, though?
What if they're not? But this is the thing, right?
But, you
Corey's
know,
like, I'm all for this if we can remove people
Right.
who shouldn't have it.
freedom of speech, you're allowed to be a jerk.
This is the thing, like, jerk based off of who's.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like,
let's take the flip of that. What if this is a bad person, though, and like now, like they can just be, that wasn't me.
But
Like, I'm
but
not guilty
again,
for anything, because this
that's
is-
the
this is
problem.
manufactured.
The problem is the term "bad person" is subjective. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Well, the interesting thing about it then becomes you can edit for good or you can edit for evil.
Exactly.
But the editing is there. And
Right.
so now when somebody pops up with a video for a court of law that says, here's this person doing
Right.
this on video, we're in a different technological age where you can't just automatically
use that.
say,
Right.
oh, okay, that's fine. And then even if they do submit it to experts, who's experts, et cetera,
Right.
et cetera.
Right.
So that gets really interesting, just as far as, like you're saying, how good we are graphically and what we can create.
Right.
I guess overall, this is why I just say, like, I'm not afraid. Keep it going.
Keep it
And
going.
let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens with
There's-
the.
See,
Nothing's
we end
gonna
up
stop it.
T2 or
So
Matrix.
so when a robot version of you shows up and you know they ship you
You
off.
think it'll have
somewhere
the same dance moves though? Can they can they replicate that?
playing?
Probably.
Oh, definitely, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm pretty stiff.
And it could replicate everything he played. Listen, there's probably a lot of footage of him playing horn, and the algorithm could duplicate it to the T.
Oh man, Corey.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And then there could be a AI of you somewhere.
I wanna see robot
playing
Corey.
saxophone.
I want to see robot Elvis. Why not?
But what if they?
Then
but-
you could send them out for shows and just chill at home.
Yeah, right.
No, but that's the thing. Then they'll just hire him to do the shows instead of Corey.
So you got to
And
buy the
then-
robot.
Then they don't have to pay him.
I
They
gotta,
just
I
give
gotta
him
own my own intellectual being.
Yeah,
So I gotta have
or
copyright.
they'll just get a blank robot that sounds like you, and then what? You
Call
know,
it Jory.
This is one of the biggest problems. Like, have you ever listened to Andrew Yang talk about his platform for universal basic income? It's all based off of the fact that automation is gonna wipe out a lot of jobs. So like that's another example of it. It's like, if you can automate things that humans are doing now, which one of the biggest things is the trucking industry and like delivery and things like that. They're already, the technology already exists. They're working on it now. They have these trucks working, these driverless trucks working on like major highways. They just don't have them working in the cities yet. But once they do, it's going to eliminate that job, and there's going to be a lot of industries, clerks, mechanics, things like that even doctors, there's robots that they have now that can do surgeries, So a lot of these jobs are going to be obsolete. So they're talking about that like for universal basic income.
I don't have a problem with it.
Right.
I don't.
Yeah. I mean, it's in this country, like there's a time period where, they didn't have certain things.
Industries always become obsolete.
It becomes obsolete.
Right.
And then you grow to new things, and you just have to adjust as people.
We all have to adjust. I mean, as musicians,
right?
We've had to adjust a lot.
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
Been a whole transformation there. So I don't feel sorry for.
But how do you adjust if they eliminate the need to hire a sax player?
I don't know yet. I'll figure it out. Or hopefully by that point, that's the younger genera's problem.
I like his attitude. That's the young lion attitude.
Because the problem is the people.
We're all be done at that point. I think young bucks can worry about it.
The people 10 years younger than us all think, well, you have to give me something. No, figure it out, man.
Yeah.
We've already had to figure it out.
Some people might be offended. I say, man up.
Yeah.
If
that's how you identify.
There was an article that my wife sent me via text the other day. Actually, when we were out at the Keswick with Freddie.
Yeah.
And it was talking about how the Lou Blum, who is the famous Philly tow truck company that tows all the cars, is instead of like towing like 20 cars a day, gets maybe 2. And his business has tanked because it is now required for the police to ticket a vehicle before it can be towed.
Wow.
And I'm like, I don't feel sorry for him.
Right.
I mean, and not because he's a tow truck driver that everyone would like to villainize, but just because times have changed.
Times change.
And you got to
Industries
adapt.
change. You got to adapt.
Yeah. And it's not going to be pretty.
Right. When you've built your whole business on something like that, you have to be willing to realize that one day this could all come to an end and I need to adapt, because it's not really a set in stone business model like that. Anytime if they change the laws or regulations, you're done.
Mm-hmm. I have Ernest Hemingway, right? I love listening to his Nobel Peace Prize acceptance speech. It's really dark, but it's so good.
See if you can find it.
And one of the great quotes in there that stuck with me is "Endure or be forgotten."
Okay,
right?
I've never heard this, and
it's incredible. And it's only like a minute and a half or 2 minutes or so. It's not that long. But I think about that, and I think about like the Uber and Lyft coming up, right? But for me, I hope in my lifetime and when I'm still a professional, like still working, I hope there is a time when a car without a driver can pick me up. In the back of the car is like a small office.
Right.
And I can just like do work or practice or whatever, and that car is going to take me where I need to be.
Right.
And like I would love to have that experience in my lifetime before I die.
That would be dope.
It would be dope, but that's automation. That's the machine.
Right.
That's AI. That's like
you're right.
Now even
but
Uber and Lyft drivers are obsolete.
But the downside of that is, where does that lead to? As far as our own ability to control our lives, in a sense, you know what I mean?
We don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know.
That's the scary part for people, is that we don't know.
Yeah, but that's human history.
Yeah, but I feel like it's ramped up a lot more.
Yeah,
as of lately. Did you find it?
I did. find a video, so it's just the audio with like a picture of him on YouTube, and
That's
it's
cool.
like
there's no video.
2 minutes and something, right?
Yeah, that's the one you could.
Yeah, he's old. No video.
Yeah, no video of that journey. It's just a picture of him, and it's one of them has like this sort of sappy music behind it, but it's still great. It's such a great speech.
I want to hear this because I never heard it before.
So, sound.
No writer who knows the great writers who did not receive the prize can accept it other than with humility. There is no need to list these writers. Everyone here may make his own list according to his knowledge and his conscience. It would be impossible for me to ask the ambassador of my country to read a speech in which a writer said all of the things which are in his heart. Things may not be immediately discernible in what a man writes, and in this sometimes he is fortunate. But eventually they are quite clear, and by these and the degree of alchemy that he possesses, he will endure or be forgotten. Writing at its best is a lonely life. Organizations for writers palliate the writer's loneliness, but I doubt if they improve his writing. He grows in public stature as he sheds his loneliness, and often his work deteriorates. For he does his work alone, and if he is a good enough writer, he must face eternity, or the lack of it, each day. For a true writer, each book should be a new beginning, where he tries again for something that is beyond attainment. He should always try for something that has never been done, or that others have tried and failed. Then, sometimes, with good luck, he will succeed. How simple the writing of literature would be if it were only necessary to write in another way what has been well written. It is because we have had such great writers in the past that a writer is driven far out past where he can go, out to where no one can help him. I have spoken too long for a writer. A writer should write what he has to say and not speak it. Again, I thank you.
That's it.
Yeah, man. It's very profound.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when you think about it, what he's saying, like, it applies to what we're talking about, because these things happen and they come along, you know, every so often, and we have to find a way to either adapt or die, basically, right? Like, that's the human race in a nutshell. Like, things happen and you either adapt or die, or be forgotten, like you said, endure or be forgotten. And, you know, these technological advances that are coming along are going to cause a lot of havoc with the systems that we have in place. But that's the way, that's always the pain that comes in with moving forward, right?
Yeah, I mean, they are now. They have been forever.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we can, in our own lives, we can think about several, just within our industry, or forget music, like just several pivotal points. I remember my dad, he used to work for Electronic Arts. That was where he switched to, actually it's not where he switched to, but he worked for Electronic Arts in California, right? Okay. And I remember going to visit him, or he brought me to the office one day, and this was in 1987, maybe, or so, somewhere around there. And right in the front of the lobby to his office building, right, they had a stack of floppy disks, and on the top was a CD, right? Yeah. It's basically saying, like, this many floppy disks, like, taller than I was, you know, equals this CD, right? You know, and that's like, and if you think about it, like, that CD, you know, call that like T1000 or whatever.
Right, at the time, right, T1000.
Allowing people to burn MP3s of music so that you didn't have to buy it anymore. Right. You know, like, forget Spotify and Napster even to that point. Right. Stuff like that. Like, this is like how you kind of, like, you think you got data? Check this out. You know, this is a CD.
And then think about that, like, You know how much space a CD could hold?
How much?
700 megabytes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is laughable.
700 megabytes.
Yeah.
bro.
Pretty laughable now.
Yeah, and I saw other sort of. My dad was in tech, so like there were other progressions, like other sort of moments in time that I remember. When he was in Washington, he brought me to his office and introduced me to some of his coworkers. And I remember, we were in the Seattle area, and they had a baseball game on. And I was talking to one of his friends. These guys were all out there. They're software engineers and programmers and just eccentric technology people, right? Like that's been around forever. It's not this .com stuff has been around for a minute. It's not just all these new tech guys. So these are the OGs, right? And this guy's he's got the baseball game on the TV. He's like, one day, very soon, you'll be able to look up Ken Griffey because he was the star player in the American. You'll be able to look up any bass player, Ken Griffey Jr. on the baseball team, and see all of his stats like in real time.
Right.
They knew.
They knew where it was headed.
They knew where it was headed, and they know where it's headed today. And it's like
I did in 8th grade, which was many years ago. I was for my was in the nerdy classes, and they used to make us do these research papers. And of course, I was obsessed with music and technology, so I did my research paper on the effects of music and technology, like what technology would do for music. And I remember there was a part of the research paper where you had to make predictions, and the predictions that I made were like, you will be able to do a studio session in New York and then send that music over the phone wires to California, you know what I mean? Based off of the research that I had been doing, which was like, to see that shit happen now the way it does, it's like, yo, I was so wrong. Like, it was way more advanced than that, you know what I mean? Like,
the start.
Yeah. It was, I had the concept of it down, but it was like, to see that where we're at now, like you did the sax parts for Higher Love for me. It's like we're emailing it back and forth, like, you know what I mean? Like it's crazy how far, like, and in a sense, even being able to do that, someone lost monetary opportunities because we're able to do that.
Yeah, recording studio.
It's a recording studio, a recording engineer. Yeah. The guy the guy at the tape plant that works at the tape plant where they make the tapes. You know what I mean? Like all of these jobs are lost. Yeah.
My question is always like, so with the evolution, and then now you have cars that drive themselves, and you can send music back and forth via email, and things were shut down. Are new jobs to take care of and maintain these new things that we're now doing being created, or is it like this steady decline that everybody kind of like everyone online in the universe is like, we're gonna have technology and there's gonna be no more jobs and like it's gonna be the worst and everyone's gonna be poor? No. So
I think new
somebody's
jobs,
gonna have to take care of the robots
exist because of that, right? Someone has to maintain those things.
When something dies, something else is created.
Right.
But somebody has to now maintain and build and function and be responsible for that new thing that is an integral part of society.
Right.
So how does that play out? Like, that's what I'm interested. Like, how is that playing out now as things are shifting, and how will it continue to play out instead of everybody just kind of saying like, robots are coming, no more jobs?
Well, and all of that I agree with, but when I hear someone talk about the fact that no one's gonna have babies naturally anymore, that's when it's like a little like
sci-fi movie-ish.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
You don't think so?
Corey's not scared.
Corey's like, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
I'm just saying, like,
I mean, but you can see the step progression along the way, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've gone from mothers die in childbirth,
right?
Can't run a high risk of dying in childbirth,
to
they can get what's the shot that they get to numb their lower
Epidural.
Epidural, yeah.
Get an epidural,
mm-hmm.
right? To C-section,
yeah.
To, I don't know if C-section or epidural came first, but either way, progress. To surrogates,
mm-hmm.
right? Kim and Kanye just had their fourth child,
right,
who was born by a surrogate mother,
right?
To the next step is like, well, you don't need that person who carried that baby
we can grow.
You just need the
four-
condo
we can
inside
grow,
the hospital.
We can grow 100,000 of them in the lab, and you
Yeah,
can
but-
pick which one
But
you
gonna,
want the best.
It's going to start with like probably like a locker or
Right.
something at a hospital.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that you rent for 9 months for the baby to be grown. You know, and then the next person comes in and leases it for 9 months and is fed nutrients and like all that stuff. And it's going to be mad expensive. But
Well, they were just talking about how like it used to be mad expensive. It's already dropped astronomically in price. Like the fact that you can even afford to genetically engineer a child, the price has gone so far down that it's almost affordable to anyone.
Well, yeah, and it's inevitable though, right?
Yeah.
Like, all these sort of technological advancements. I don't know if there's going to be saxophone players 40 years from now, right?
Right.
But I don't care.
Right.
Like that's fine. I think maybe that like going back to like that was kind of my fascination with electronic music. Was it like it felt to me like very much the future.
The future, right.
And so different from what I could do, but also presented music in a way that you couldn't present otherwise. And I liked the music that you couldn't perform live. It wasn't like funky house grooves that
Right.
a band could probably
Yeah.
pull off. It was like, no, I was like, you can't do this on instruments, and you still like, you can't capture that essence, like it's its own thing. So anyways, I'm not, that being said, like I'm not afraid of that progress, I guess. If that, makes us more I guess a refined race. I don't know, like that's, it's not like, I'm not trying to sound like racist or anything like
Yeah.
that. Like it's going to be everybody.
Right.
There's actually a really cool thing about watching The Matrix, like going back to that movie, was how inclusive that movie was of every single culture.
Yeah.
It was actually really fascinating. It's set in the future, but like everybody's there.
Right.
Which was really cool. But you also have like Smith, Agent Smith, like, and they all look the
Right.
same, and they all have the same
Yeah.
similar, and they are these basically.
And that's the other thing is like,
viruses.
what if there has to be because once you start, there's always the boom of like technology. Everyone takes advantage of the technology, and then corporations grab a hold of it, and then it becomes a system of oppression. You know what I mean? It always happens that way. When you look at Facebook now, Twitter, YouTube, it's like we're going to control the narrative of what people can say and think and speak on the public platform. And if you don't abide by that, then you're banned, And I feel like that technology has the same, opportunity for there to be these weird uses. Like, what's to stop them from saying, like, say you do have, 1,000 embryos that are fertilized and taken, and then you rank them out, and then you pick the ones you want, and then they send the rest off to some concentration camp somewhere to turn them into soldiers. You know what I mean? Like, what's to stop that from happening?
Yeah, but that's sure. Yeah, but like that's like saying like, well, what's to stop a person from like when we leave here today? I let Rachel drive because I've had one too many Balvenies,
Right.
And then she just like sideswipes everyone on the freeway. It's like,
But that's
you're kind of
different.
assuming people are inherently evil.
You're talking about just someone doing something evil. I'm talking about someone doing something for the capital gain involved.
Yeah,
which doesn't involve just being evil. There's a motivation.
That
there.
is evil, though. You're
It
basically
is
stealing.
but people do tons of evil things for monetary, for the motivation of like being rich and powerful. We go to wars all the time that our children are being sent off to because of the gain that someone can get monetarily.
It will happen.
Yeah,
it'll happen. I mean, all these societal problems that come along with technology or lack thereof,
right,
are still very existent today.
So is there a do you think there's a responsibility on us to be aware of that and take steps to make sure we're not affected? Or
I would say yes, but I don't think that you should necessarily fear it.
Right. I agree with that. I don't think you should fear it because that's just pointless.
I mean, you have to like always picture like Murphy's Law, like worst case scenario.
Right.
right? Or how could this affect us the most positively?
Right.
But
Think of it like this. So, we know now that a lot of the food that we eat, a lot of the fruits and vegetables and processed foods that we're eating are bad for us. They're killing us, right?
Okay, yeah.
So we have to take steps now to counteract all of that and learn how to eat healthy again, because we're now learning the detriment of that. But at a time, those were technological advances that we used to make food more readily available to everyone, right?
Yes.
So it was a way to say, okay, we can make food more affordable if we use science and we use this technology to make GMO fruits, and they last longer on the shelf. More people can get them. We can charge cheaper prices, hot dogs, sausages, everything. You know, we can make this stuff cheaper for people. But now we're finding out what the long-term effects of that are. And look at our healthcare system now, and look at the hospitals, and look at, you know, the diabetes, the heart disease, everything that's obesity that is like killing us now in this country. So it's like, do we want that to happen again in regards to the other technologies that come along, or do we need to like think about those things ahead of time?
I think those patterns will emerge no matter what.
No matter what, there's
when
no
you're
way to
trying
avoid
something
it.
new,
Yeah.
you know, there's always challenges.
We
ahead.
won't know what we're dealing with until it's just like the teen suicide rate. Like, we didn't have any idea that Instagram was going to make teens want to kill themselves, but now we're dealing with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at first you think, oh, it's just a great way to share photos.
Yeah.
You don't think about the negative that comes from it. And, you know, there was a reason that we, like, you know, mass produced and genetically engineered these crops. It was probably to feed livestock and just like support a population.
Support
right?
our population.
And they were like, hey,
Yeah.
this isn't good for us. You know, and like, but it became so cheap, you know, so it's like you have to go back and, you know, you have to reset. And
So what if the thing that we're missing is the thing that becomes the Matrix, or becomes T2, where it's like we create what is our undoing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. I guess I think that a bigger sort of trend that's emerging more and more these days, at least in America, right, where it's a capitalist kind of like everyone fight for themselves, is exactly that we all have to be more independent than we've ever been before. Mm-hmm. But also the opportunity to be independent is more available. So if you want to, you know, talking about YouTube, like we're talking at the very beginning about like fitness and like fasting. If you want to learn about that stuff, you can independently go onto YouTube and learn about it.
Right.
You know, and if you want to learn about what good foods are good for you, you can take the time and learn about it. If you want to, you know, and unfortunately the negative part of that is the way our employment stuff is working in this country, where unions have been destroyed.
Right.
And so it's like, well, if you want to support yourself, you go out there yourself.
Right.
You do it. You know, it's a little scarier on that side of things, but the world has kind of opened up so much more in the independence realm, I guess, which is going to have its benefits and its struggles. So I'm kind of like, well, just you're on your own, buddy.
It's a very like nuanced, confusing like thing to think about, because you don't know, but you just kind of like, I mean, there's really nothing we can do to stop it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's
I think the really disappointing thing about like today's younger generation is using the internet for wasting time, for ignorance, for basically just like evil instead of good. Like you could use it for so many things, to make yourself so much more aware about different things, to communicate with different people. But instead, we kind of get caught inside the bubble. And even though we tell Facebook what we want, we're not actively thinking, or like even telling our young adults, like, you're caught inside the bubble.
Right.
You love Cardi B and Coke and blonde hair because at one point you liked something that had blonde hair, and now
it's
that's
like
what
light
all your
purple
friends
hair.
like. And so this like, okay, well, this is what it is. And you never break the box or say, well, what could I actually use the internet for to like build with my friends? Like, how do we make money? How do we do stuff online? Can we start a podcast or a channel or things like this? It's just kind of a lot of wasting time. I think that's like really sad. Like you're like,
Yeah.
well, what can we do about it? Well, we have this amazing connection source where we could be talking to each other and we could be discussing things and we could be making things better. But nobody's really doing that,
I
are
think
they?
that's why we started this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just funny that it's sometimes I think about it in a way where it's like, are we doing what we should be doing? You know, are we using this for the right reasons? And like you said, I think a lot of people are just wasting it. You know, I know for me, like when I first wanted to learn how to be an engineer, audio engineer, I didn't go to school for that. I went to school for music theory. You know what I mean? So for me to learn that, I had to read books. I had to like put the time in. If I had YouTube, man, like I would be on another level. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that kids have access to that now and they don't use it is amazing to me.
I think they do use it though.
They do, but not. I don't see. We have a lot of people come through here that want to be something. You know what I mean?
Well,
Want to be something.
yeah, but you know what though? Props to all your clients, and I want them to keep coming here. But I think the second that they come to you, they're asking for someone else to do the heavy lifting for them.
Right.
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 So you know you can't expect that from them. It's the person that's in their like that you don't know about that's in their bedroom at home.
Right.
You know, it's like
Yeah.
when you think about like back in the day, like there were people that made slamming tracks off of Fruity Loops.
Yeah.
Because that's just what
I
they
was
knew
one
how
of
to
them.
use.
That's what I started with. Fruity
That's-
Loops and Logic. Like
that's what they knew how to use.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like it's not about the it's about the creativity of the user.
Right.
You know, but you know, someone else they're just asking you to do it. You know, it's like a kid taking their car to a mechanic and being like, make it go faster.
Right. But
You know?
that's my point. It's like I see a lot of kids that don't know how to do basic things. Like people that I know, their kids, you know, a lot of the people that my wife works with, like people just don't know how to do things that are so easily to be like you can figure this out.
Yeah.
You can find out. It's all there. Everything's available to you. Like there's not anything that you say, oh, I wish I knew how to do that. And you
Right.
can't just look it up and find it out.
I've told kids, I've worked with like kids at the Kimmel Center. We kind of talked
Yeah.
about before we were filming and stuff. But you know, the youth that's in music basically. And I mean, I've told them like, you got to learn how to use a digital audio software for interface.
Right.
You have to learn how to use Logic or Pro Tools. Like that's cool. You play saxophone, you play drums, you play whatever. You need to learn this.
Right.
You know, like this is it. I'm kind of like even like piano. Yeah, you could learn piano.
Listen.
Cool.
I had this epiphany like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I think I need to learn all these things right now.
And look at her now though. Like
Yeah, like I know she's running
killing
shop over
it.
yeah,
there.
like
killing it.
like literally, like I told her like, yo, all this stuff you can find it, and she knows that. So it's like now she's coming in the studio, sitting in with me, and learning that stuff, and it's that's what it takes.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, like you gotta put the initiative in and say, I want to learn this, and look it up. Like, dude, I used to have stacks of papers that I would print out about learning psychoacoustics and frequency response and like I don't know, I didn't know anything about that stuff, and I feel like it's so much easier now to get that information.
Yeah, it is, but it's overwhelming. But it's still there for the taking, and I think the kids, the whoever, the adults that are going to grab it, they'll emerge.
Yeah,
You know, but the people that don't figure it out for themselves, they might be your customers.
right. And maybe they're the ones that need to be weeded out anyway because it's so accessible to anybody.
Or they're just destined for something else. It's not to be like, hey, if you don't know this, you're stupid.
Right.
You know, like, but
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, everyone thinks they can do music now. Everyone thinks they're a rapper now. And it's like, so you need a certain level of weeding out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because anyone can put up something on SoundCloud and think they're an artist. You know?
any skill set, any skill set in life, whether it exists now, previously, or is not yet born yet, it takes a lot of time.
Right.
You know, and the people you will quickly realize that the people that put on a lot of time studying that craft, they know what they're doing.
Right.
And that's, that's kind of like a young kid thing too, is like they think, oh, I can do this.
I could do
this.
that. Yeah.
And a lot of those kids are, we were all those kids at one point, fall off quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And other ones, they become the stars of tomorrow. I remember like when I was younger in Philly, like being a saxophone player trying to get gigs. I remember there was a point where I used to sweat my peers because we're competitive. Like,
right.
I'm like, I don't want them taking my gigs. I'm trying to get gigs, and they're coming in and they're killing. And I kind of realized like, there's like, don't worry about the college kids. I remember that was like a moment for me, because like who knows? Like they don't like, this is cute for them right now. They don't know what it's like to actually go out into the field and really do this stuff, and like they're just.
We learned that when we had the little deal with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With the college, we learned that like because we have been running this label ourselves for so many years, and then we're like, all right, well, let's see what they can do, and it was like we had to do everything. It's like, what are y'all learning? Yeah, well, it's cute, like you said, it's cute for them.
Yeah, it is, but like you also just don't know like who's really gonna endure.
Yeah,
so they could come. But those are you need to foster them. You know, you need to educate them, and who knows what's going to happen with them. So I don't have like an overly negative view towards them, but all the information's out there. Do you want to study it or not?
Right.
I could know, as a saxophone player, I could know every bebop like that ever existed.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't choose to go that direction,
right.
But I know it's all out there, and
right.
like people have mapped it out in a way that is so easy for me to just like. Go like, oh, I don't even have to like really understand it. I could just do it.
Right.
It's all there, but that doesn't necessarily equal value.
That's true. You still got to have that passion for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like vision.
Right. Ear, that whole thing. It's got to be part of you. I agree.
Yeah, and that goes for anything. I'm trying to speak in really general terms because we could be talking about someone who. Works on electronics or
a carpenter.
Yeah, a carpenter.
My brother-in-law's a carpenter. And
just talking about the tow truck guy.
Yeah.
Just gotta think of something else.
Yeah, you got to figure out a different way to make it happen. And there is a future there.
Yeah.
What is it?
Figure out how can you tow automated vehicles?
Right.
What is that lane?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you put sensors on a tow truck so that the driver doesn't have to get out of the car in order to hoist it onto the back of the truck? Right? Imagine how much quicker you could
changing the game. Changing the game.
Imagine how much quicker you could snatch vehicles if you didn't have to go out there and be like, like I watched them do it the other day and on my block because they're doing work. It's like, like, imagine if they could just be boom,
Yeah.
No one in Dubai, right?
Yeah.
Dubai is it's a very weird place, but it's a fascinating place. No, there's barely any theft in Dubai because there's cameras everywhere.
Right.
You don't see cops on the freeways because there's cameras.
Mm-hmm.
If you're speeding, the camera's going to get you. A ticket's going to show up in the mail based off your license plate. Like all these things, like, is it bad? Is it good? There's some bad stuff that happens there too.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't really want to go into, but, keep it PG sort of, or like not too dark. But, a lot of this stuff, it's like, okay, well, that's great because that means the police force can focus on stuff that really matters. Can you imagine if, like, I'm not necessarily, I don't know how I feel. Yeah, sure, let's do it. 95 gets just chock full of cameras for speeding, right?
But then what about those cops that lose those jobs, those traffic cops that lose those jobs?
I mean, I would prefer that the cops focus on the issues facing
I agree with you, but this is the problem, is that you have these lobbyists, you have these unions that will fight against that to keep those cameras from existing because they have the best interests of the police officers at heart, so they don't want them to lose those jobs, so they will come up with reasons to block that from being passed. You know what I mean?
It's a losing game.
Mm-hmm.
It's punching. It's like you're just running uphill.
Right.
I always think about like Lars Ulrich when he went. You remember the drummer from Metallica?
Yeah.
And he like went all over the press when Napster became a thing.
Yeah.
He became like the whining
He was the
mouthpiece
spokesperson for that whole
like,
thing. Yeah.
how it's hurting them.
Yeah.
You know, you're just like, what?
Dude, give it up.
Give it up.
Music is free now.
Yeah,
Just get over it.
It sucks for all of us, especially
Get over it.
Metallica.
Dude, it sucks
I
for
guess.
us. We've got this building from selling CDs to
Yeah.
people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like, it sucks for us. We had to totally figure out things, but like you said, we evolve. You know?
It sucks, but like you didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Did you? If you would have stomped your foot harder, do you think it would have changed?
Heck no.
No. You had to.
And what do we do? Give up and go home?
Yeah.
You know, close up shop? Well, we tried, guys. No.
So the highway patrol will figure out something else to do.
Right.
You know, and I feel like there are probably more important things to focus on.
What?
How's your daughter still up, dude? Watch
It's
it.
probably Liz. She she don't have her own Facebook. She's probably like,
I was about to say, man, it's like 11 o'clock and shit.
is it 11?
Coming up on 3 hours here.
Oh my goodness, this is the longest podcast we've
2
ever
I
hours.
had.
gotta go because we got Corey in the building.
Okay.
Okay.
Special guest in the building.
Special guest.
Special
About
guest.
hitting single malt 12.
Usually Rachel is like, get it out of here. Let's go.
No, I'm a ride. That's why she's stuck.
Yeah, right. She can't leave.
That's
till
how
you-
she talks to me.
Yeah.
Corey.
Well, that was a good podcast. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, man. Thanks for doing this, bro.
My
I appreciate
pleasure.
it, man. It was a
I
good
hope
conversation.
the viewing audience, both today and 20 years from now, when they can stumble across this on the internet, enjoy some little tidbits from this. But
I think they will. This
great
was
to
good
hang with
stuff.
you.
Yeah.
It was good stuff. At least we got to drink and talk shit like we
Yeah.
always do.
I love it.
That's all that matters.
is what we do.
Give people a inside look at what we talk about on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for watching. Remember to check out Corey's stuff on Spotify and check out his Instagram, Corey Riker, at Corey Riker. Corey with a K, if you don't know. And make sure you support the podcast, patreon.com/YoungLionTV. You can go to Jatan.com and you can get merch. You can get our music. You can support the guys, get some cool stuff. And we'll see you guys next week. We got a flight early in the morning for Simone Chang.
Yeah.
And John, we'll see you at the wedding. Peace. Deuces.
Young lion, go live, yeah. Young lion, you rich, yeah. This kingdom has room, yeah.